Murphy with 46 seconds remaining. Trevor Kennard, good on the convert, gave Winnipeg the 28-27 victory.
The two losses that we've suffered have been in the last minute, and they've been character builders, to say the least. But I think for us to stay in a positive vein, we've got to think in the present. And right now, our obstacle is the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I look forward to a good game from our offense and defense and a win tonight.
Hamilton put up a rugged battle against Winnipeg before losing to the defending Grey Cup champions 16-11. Howard Field's fumble recovery set up the Ticats' lone touchdown in a game in which Hamilton had 3 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries. Toronto still smarting from those 2 last-second losses, need a victory to break the second-place tie with Ottawa and get into the chase with first occupied by Montreal. Hamilton's Al Bruno calls this a crucial one. They must get their first win. Tonight, one of the great rivalries in the Canadian Football League. Live from Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton, the Toronto Argonauts versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Friday Night Football. There are 2 words to describe the weather. It is warm and it is a little breezy, but it's a fine night. Hello, everybody. I'm Bill Stevenson. You know, a lot of people think this is going to be a game in which the Argonauts, who maybe should be 3-0 the way they have played, are going to blow out the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think you can forget that reasoning. This Tiger Cat club is much better than the last one that played against Winnipeg. Better offensively, especially, as they've got Shepard in that running back position, and that is bound to help them. They also are in a position where they feel that they're a better club, and they know that they have dominance over the Argos. The Argonauts always have trouble with Hamilton, and the Argonauts are edgy, tense going into this game. So to get a closer look at these 2 clubs, let's go upstairs now to Pat Marsden and Lee Pedersen.
Thank you, Bill, and hello again, everybody across Canada. Welcome to Friday Night Football on CTV. Bill alluded to the rivalry lead. You're a former Hamilton Ticat player. Is there really such a thing?
Well, Pat, there certainly is. When I played in Hamilton, we didn't have any difficulty getting up for the Toronto Argonauts. I think the geographics between the 2 cities dictates that. Both teams want to have the bragging rights to the area. But, you know, it's funny. If you talk to the players, they'll give you the cliche, well, this is just another 2 points. Don't believe it. These 2 teams, they don't like each other. There's a lot of bad blood because Toronto figures they cheated. Hamilton cheated them out of a Grey Cup berth last year.
You know, it's amazing, though, the trouble that the Argonauts have had with Hamilton over the years. 7 of the last 9 games have gone to the Ticats, and I could look for an upset here tonight.
Well, it's as simple as this, and you're going to hear it all year. Great defense in Hamilton. If the offense gets going, they've got a chance.
Well, we're going to find out just what kind of a chance they have when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we ask you now to stand and join Don Dunn in the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' commands. With glowing hearts we say thee rise, God true, north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
The referee tonight is the veteran Ross Perrier. And let me tell you, Pat, there seems to be a considerably bigger crowd than we had anticipated for this game. The stands are filling up rapidly. Maybe it's the rivalry, maybe it's the nice weather, but it's a nice crowd. Okay, Pat, take it away.
Thank you, Bill. Well, it is a beautiful night, as you've mentioned, but I'll tell you, this is an extremely important contest for both these clubs, Leif. I have felt since the beginning of the season that the Argos haven't played with a great deal of emotion. Is that an opinion that you don't share or not?
It's difficult to tell. I think offensively they've played well with emotion. They've played well in late stages of the games. Defensively, most of it is emotion. They've got to get together, gang tackle, and when they got a chance to make an interception, make it.
Bernie Ruoff's kickoff will be going into the end zone. Argos didn't play that ball particularly well as it rolls through. So the Argos will start from their 25-yard line. The ball was not touched by anyone. It rolled right through the end zone. So let's set up that Toronto Argonaut offensive alignment for you. Conrad Holloway, of course, will start at quarterback. Conrad is off to one of his best starts ever. Jan Carinci and Bob Bronk, the two Canadians, occupy those fullback and running back spots. And Steve Cox, you'll notice, is wearing number 1. This is his first game of 1985 in that Toronto Argonaut lineup. Holloway comes out throwing and very quickly hits Kerry Taylor, but just as quickly, Mark Streeter was there, number 20, to bring him down.
Well, I had a chat with Ben Zambiazzi earlier this morning, and he said that what they're going to try and do is stick to that zone defense against Conrad Holloway, keep those receivers in front of them. They feel they have a better chance to react to the football that way than getting stuck in man-to-man coverage.
Pickup was only a yard, so it is 2nd and 9. Argos from their 26 going into the wind. Holloway's throw is complete to Cox, but he has nowhere to go because up very quickly was Howard Fields, number 16. And the Argos only advanced the ball 4 yards in their 2 downs, and they'll be punting.
Well, Pat, that's exactly what I was talking about. 2nd and long, they sat back in the zone defense and give them that short ball and then come up and make the reaction in the tackle. Howard Fields did an excellent job. He's had a great year, had a fumble recovery interception in their last game against the Blue Bombers, and he's been one of the reasons why the defense has played pretty well this year. But
Hank Olisic, the man you see on your screen, has not kicked field goals very appropriately, but he is a good punter, as Paul Bennett and Rufus Crawford are back awaiting it. Oh, good move by Olisic to get away from the charge by Donovan Rose, but it's a short kick. Paul Bennett is there to take it at the 42. A no-yards flag comes down, and very quickly the Hamilton Ticats are going to be in position A.
Well, it's one of the rules that I really dislike when there's that short kick and the guys get called for no yards. I'm sure it's 15 Cliff Hewitt, and he really couldn't help it. He was trying to get out of the way, but nevertheless, what a great way for Jeff Tedford and his offense to start the football game.
And there's the way that the Hamilton Ticats are going to line up. You notice that Johnny Shepard is back in the lineup, and Dave Graffey joins him as his running mate.
You know, Pat, they've got to get Johnny Shepard involved in this offense. He played the last game, but really was not effective. They got to get him the football.
And this is the man who has to do it, Jeff Tedford, number 9, the quarterback for the Hamilton Ticats. And the pass intended for Rufus Crawford is over his head.
Leaf, you played a lot of games here when the crowds have been really high, especially with Toronto in town. Well, this is a live crowd tonight, certainly the biggest and the livest they've had at Ivor Wynne Stadium this season.
Now, Bill, it's funny, a lot of people like to say, well, there's not that much of a rivalry between the teams. It's more for the fans than anything else, and so, to a certain degree, I think that's true. The fans really get worked up because here in Hamilton, they don't want to lose to Toronto and vice versa.
Here in Hamilton, they don't have a lot to cheer for, but they're hoping that the Ticats will be able to give them something tonight. It's 2nd down, 10 yards to go from the Toronto 27-yard line. Tedford going to the end zone for Crawford again, but again he overthrows him with Dennis Clay and Steve Johnson providing the defensive coverage.
Well, Pat, it's simple. It's inexperience at the quarterbacking spot there. They picked the wrong guy to throw to. You've got 2 guys running down the middle seam. You work against the new safety, Steve Johnson. Whichever way he goes, you throw the other way. Jeff Tedford, he made a mistake. Crawford was double covered. He should have gone to DiPietro.
You talk about the inexperience of Jeff Tedford. He has thrown 4 interceptions in the 2 games in which he has played and only 1 touchdown pass. As Bernie Ruoff will try the 34-yard field goal. And it is wide. So the Ticats really blow a golden opportunity. They do pick up the single point, and so after 1 series apiece, the Hamilton Tiger Cats are out in front of the Toronto Argonauts, 1-0. We'll be back. But I don't imagine they're too happy with that, Leaf, because what a golden opportunity so early in the ball game.
Well, they went for the home run a couple times in a row and weren't successful.
It's ironic, though, Leaf and Pat, that you have a situation where Ruoff is considered one of the steadiest field goal kickers and expected to be really the strength for them in this game, whereas Olisic is expected to be the weakness for the Argos because his problems with field goal kicking, and here Ruoff misses a big chance.
So the Argos begin at their 35-yard line. Inside to Jan Carinci. And Carinci only gets about 5 yards to the 40 before Ben Zambiazzi, the great linebacker from the University of Georgia, who is making his return to the lineup tonight, was there to bring him down.
And he did just a heck of a job fighting off a couple of blockers to come in and make the play on Jan Carinci. Georgia Bulldog product. Ben, an entrepreneur here in Hamilton. There you get a look at him from the end zone. He'll come to his right. When Carinci cuts back, he's there to meet him.
Second down, 5 yards to go. Toronto from their 40. The flag is down, and so is Holloway. He was jolted. But a holding penalty is called against the Toronto Argonauts, and it'll be refused by the Ticats.
Well, that's what happens with the run and shoot. Initially, Conridge wanted to hit Greg Holmes quickly on this post pattern. And there you see the final end of the play as Mark Streeter gets a pretty good shot on Conridge Holloway.
Now, Olisic will be punting into the wind, and it is a factor here tonight. The flags are standing straight up. But Hank, of course, spent so many great seasons with the Edmonton Eskimos. He's accustomed to the winds that they get out on the prairies and out in the western part of Canada. Let's see what he does. Rufus Crawford on the move, takes it at the 35. A flag comes down once again. And no yards probably will be the call once more. A 35-yard punt by Hank Olisic. But now the penalty will be marched off by referee Ross Perrier.
Well, it could have been any number of a few guys there, but when you're kicking into the wind, you have to be aware of that no yards.
No yards, Toronto number 15. First down.
So no yards is called against Cliff Hewitt. That's the second punt in a row. The Ticats begin at their 50-yard line. Johnny Shepard, the ball carrier. A flag is down once again as Shepard gets to the outside. This is what the Ticats have needed. They haven't had somebody that can break it wide open for 10 or 15 yards. He's finally forced out by Dennis Clay, but we'll have to wait and see what that penalty marker indicates.
Well, Pat, what they don't need is procedure penalties when they get something going offensively. Rocky DiPietro jumped way outside, and heck, the play wasn't even going his way.
The two things that this club does have, though, they've got that healthy Shepard, as you point out, who can break it, healthy for the first time this year, and they've got Crawford for the first time, and he was the all-time leader in total offense from last year.
Well, he's the all-time leader of all time as he eclipsed Hal Patterson's record from 1956 total yardage.
So the Ticats are pushed back to their 45-yard line, 1st and 15. This is Crawford. And good pursuit by that Toronto Argonaut defense as they drop him at the 49-yard line. Mike Emery, number 75, the linebacker on that side, with help from Darrell Wilson, number 13, there to bring him down.
Well, Mike Emery's a guy we've seen develop over the last few years, originally from the University of British Columbia, Vanier Cup champions, and started out originally with Saskatchewan, now with the Argonauts, getting a chance to start, and that's just great pursuit. Some help from Walter Ballard as well.
It's second down, 11 yards to go, Hamilton. Tedford over the middle to Dave Graffey. He gets to midfield, but that'll be well short of the first down. Don Moan, number 36, the linebacker on the opposite side from Mike Emery, was there to bring him down. And like Mike Emery, he's a graduate of the University of British Columbia.
And they do a good job of getting back in their pass coverage. Let the pass pattern develop in front of you and then come up and make the play. They know when it's second and long. All they've got to do is sit back in the weeds and then react to the football.
Kerry Taylor and Jan Carinci drop back to receive the punt from Bernie Ruoff. The Ticats out in front 1-0 with 9:35 left to play in this opening quarter.
Sun really becomes a problem in this stadium at this time of the night.
Well, Carinci allows it to bounce into the end zone. And now he falls on it. A good move because he will draw the no yards penalty, and Hamilton will blow a single point. Steve Jackson was too close to Jan Carinci.
It's really inexcusable. He's from the University of Guelph, and he's been around Canada long enough to know you've got to give 5 yards. The ball wasn't touched, and I for the life of me, don't know why he came in and tried to make a play on it.
No yards. Hamilton declined 1 point.
Well, the Argos will give them the single point to take advantage of the field position, where it will now be at the 35-yard line. So make it 2-0 Ticats. And actually, that's a pretty good move by Bobo Bilovich, because they're going into the wind, and rather than be stuck deep in their own territory, they take it at the 35.
Well, I agree with you. Get some operating room for Conrad Holloway and the rest of his receiving corps.
Conrad has completed very close to 70% of his passes this season.
Well, he's been great.
Toss goes to Kerry Taylor. But that Hamilton defense at this point is giving up absolutely nothing, as Ben Zambiazzi, the middle linebacker, was there to haul him down.
A lot of people said this week that this is really going to be kind of unique, seeing two Canadian running backs starting tonight. But really what's going to happen, a lot of times in running situations, Kerry Taylor and Jan Carinci will switch positions. Carinci going to the slot and Taylor into the backfield to run that football.
I can't recall a Canadian Football League season that has started with more excitement than this one has, and I think the reason is because the teams are so evenly matched, with the exception maybe of BC. This is Terry Greer with his first reception of the night, and it's a big one because it gives Toronto a first down at the 47-yard line.
Let me tell you, Pat, we'll see how good BC is, and there is no question that they're a powerhouse when they take on Montreal Concords tomorrow night at BC Place. That will be a whale of a ball game.
And Bill and Leaf will both be out there as we bring you that game here on CTV. Argos, with their first down of this ball game, have the ball at their 46-yard line is where it was spotted. Flag is down. Holloway throws. It's complete again to Greer. Very close to the first down marker, but there was a penalty. Procedure penalty against the Argos. Spotter Alex Ponton points out that it was likely number 1, Steve Cox.
Alex has got those eyes sharpened tonight. He's absolutely right. And Toronto Argonauts find themselves in trouble with a penalty, as Hamilton did.
Procedure, Toronto number 1. First down repeated.
Incidentally, speaking of Steve Cox, who performed with the Argos last year, he is the first Toronto player to ever wear the number 1. And it's the lowest number prior to that was number 7, worn by Joe Theismann.
Or this guy right here, Conrad Holloway.
Right. Flag is down. Conrad unloads it to Carinci, who gets to the 48-yard line, but a holding penalty in all probability against the Argos number 51, Jeff Inglis.
Penalty's kind of slowing this game down at this point. Good run by Johnny Shepard nullified. A first down by Terry Greer nullified. And going into the wind, the Argos are in a bit of trouble here.
Holding, Toronto number 51. First down repeated.
Let's see if you can see it at the left part of your screen. There's number 51, Jeff Inglis, working on 59, Rod Skillman. He grabs him in the back, and that's holding.
So it's first and about 25 yards to go for the first down. Holloway unloads it to Steve Cox, and he doesn't get a whole lot, but he certainly saves the loss as he gets to the 38-yard line. Howard Fields along with John Priestner there to bring him down.
Pat, you and I were talking before the game, and I mentioned that I thought Steve Cox reminds me so much of Eric Allen, the Flea, who used to play with the Argonauts years ago. He's extremely elusive when he gets that football out in the open field. I hope we get a chance to see him run with it tonight.
It's second down, about 18 yards to go for the first down for Toronto. Holloway looking for Greer. He's got it and has the first down in Hamilton territory at the 44-yard line before Donovan Rose, number 26, the former Argo and former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, was there to bring him down. But was that pass right on the money?
Well, we've got it for you. Watch it. It's a post corner. Take it in the middle. Now break it back to the outside. He turns Donovan Rose right around. Holloway with a good strike into that wind. And when you can convert on second and long like that, you've done a great job offensively.
Boy, oh boy, the Ticats thought they were smiling there for a while. It was first and 25. The Argos picked up 7, and then they come with the big strike for a first down at the Hamilton 43-yard line. All the way to Bob Bronk. And Bronk has nowhere to go as he gets to the 40-yard line. Number 77, Grover Covington, the right defensive end, was there to make the stop.
Well, you like Steve Cox, Leaf, as you pointed out, but so does Obi, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts, because he says he's the kind of guy who's got the quickness that makes things happen. He's got those quick feet, and he's got great hands.
Oh, he's exciting, and as I said earlier, I hope we get a chance to see him in the open field.
Holloway's pass for Greer was very nearly picked off by Howard Fields.
Oh, Fields just does a great job to knock that ball away.
So we will see the Argonaut special team in a moment, but I just want to remind you that the score is Hamilton 2, Toronto nothing, and we'll be down with the Argos' third down play in a moment. League. The Montreal Concords will visit BC Place tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. You'll see it here on CTV.
Pat, we're going to miss you tomorrow night. You're on pool duty tomorrow.
I'm in the backyard on the pool. Got to clean it. A little dirty.
Well, we'll say hello to you, Patrick.
All right.
From sunny Vancouver, where I gather they've had the Vancouver weather has just been great. We're waiting to get a word here as soon as we can on Ferroni, but it's the knee that has been hurt, and the doctors are clustered around him right now.
Ferroni was shaken up on that pass play that was very nearly intercepted by Howard Fields.
I know it's only 5 years, but I guess he's the elder statesman of the Toronto Argonaut offensive line, which is an all-Canadian offensive line that does a heck of a job, and they have to, if they want to have a shot at the Eastern title. They got to keep Conrad Holloway healthy.
Olesic stands just inside midfield, and boy, Lester Brown came flying through to try to make the block and just missed it. Rufus Crawford took it on the dead run, but he stepped out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Well, Les Brown, number 15, came within inches of blocking that Hank Olesic punt, and he had problems the first time he tried to get the ball away as well.
Well, that's only a 21-yard exchange, so if you're a Ticats, you've got to be pretty pleased about that. Keep back, guys.
So Rufus Crawford is back into the lineup, playing in place of Wayne Lee, joining Rocky DiPietro on the inside, with Scott Colley and Steve Stapler on the outside. Tedford to Dave Graffey, and Graffey bowls his way for about 3 yards to the 25-yard line. Brought down there by Dennis Clay, number 14. What's happening with Dan Ferroni, Bill?
The word is he's all right. Just a knock on the knee. You can see the trainer, Fred Dunbar, taking a look at it, but the doctor said it's just a knock. There's nothing serious. They didn't put any ice on it. They may put a little more tape, and he'll be coming back apparently on the next sequence. So it's second down. Make it 7 yards to go. Hamilton at their 25-yard line. Swing it out to Johnny Shepard. What a job Dennis Clay did. He fought off the block, just wouldn't be removed, shut down the corner, and made the tackle with help from Don Moan.
Ticats they have to be better actors on that swing screen. The receivers have got to push downfield and drive off those defensive backs. They just didn't do it that time, allowing Dennis Clay to come up and just make a heck of a tackle. Look at him fight off that block, too.
So Bernie Ruoff will be punting once again. As you take a look at Dennis Clay, number 14, who is the Argonauts' top tackler in the first 3 games of this season. Ruoff's kick will be handled by Kerry Taylor at the Toronto 40. And he's forced out as he gets to the 45-yard line. Good coverage there by that Hamilton cover team. Ticats lead at 2-0. Argos have the ball when we come back.
Clay, you just missed the top of your screen. He just threw a heck of a block on number 37, Terry Lean, the Ticats, and really corked him.
Well, it goes to show you the ability that Dennis Clay had, because he was the guy who made sure that Hamilton had to punt on 3rd down with his tremendous play on the corner against Johnny Shepard.
He's aggressive, that kid. We were lucky, got him from Edmonton last year and helped them out tremendously.
Argos from their 45-yard line with a first down going into the wind. Now, this is something Conrad's didn't want to have to do because he is really suffering with a pulled groin muscle. He gets out over the 50 to about the 53, pinned there by John Priestner.
Pat, you'll notice that Ferroni wasn't in for that sequence. Trefo was replacing him, but Fred Dunbar says he's going right back in. They're just flexing the knee a little bit, and he'll be back in shortly.
Thank you, Bill. Leaf and I had a chance to speak with Conradge before the game, and there's no question that he is hurting, but he said, I'm going to be there every game until we get our little break late in August. This is Kerry Taylor. And Taylor just exploded through that little opening to pick up the first down into Hamilton territory at about the 52-yard line.
You know, Pat, you talk about a groin injury that Conradge Holloway has. Most people would think, well, that's really high up in the groin area, but really it's that whole muscle that runs down to the knee, and his pull is about halfway down, so it's really not in a critical area. It's just aggravating, but it's not debilitating, so he is able to play every week with it and just suffer through a little bit of pain.
First down, Toronto at the Hamilton 52. All the way to the relief man, Bob Bronk. And look at that big bull just corral his way down inside the 40 to the 38-yard line.
We talked about the offensive line having to give Conradge Holloway the protection. That time, they gave him enough so he could go to his second, third, and his final fourth receiver, Bob Bronk, and does a nice job. Watch him elude John Priestner here. Good little move back to the inside. He's learned in his career, you don't have to run over everybody. Try and preserve yourself a little bit.
I think he likes running over people, though.
Argos have the ball at the 38-yard line, and now referee Ross Perrier signals timeout. Apparently, there may be something wrong with the clock. He's coming over to the sidelines right now. Argos have to be moderately pleased going into this stiff breeze that they're only down by 2 points, because they would be looking to the second quarter to really get that offense moving. Last week we asked you, should the CFL change to 4 downs? 48% said yes, 52% said no. I would hate to see it go to that. I would have voted no. So would Obie. So would most coaches. They like the wide open nature of the Canadian
I'm surprised that it was 52% for and 48% against. I thought it would be overwhelming.
Yeah, so did I. I really have trouble understanding those figures. Fans we talk to all say 3 downs. That's what we like.
So we're ready to go now. Holloway's pass again to Bronk. And this time he met Ben Zambiasi head on, and you've got to give the decision to Bob Bronk because he knocked Zambiasi aside and got to the 30-yard line for a pickup of 8.5 yards. Queen's University graduate Bob Bronk, who came to Toronto in a territorial trade with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
You know, he's only listed at 215, but he sure looks a lot bigger than that, doesn't he?
He sure does. This is Carinci, and he should have the first down. He had to pick up a couple, depending upon the placement of the ball. Leo Ezrins, number 72, and Mitchell Price, 65, were there to bring him down, and we're going to have our first measurement of the ball game. It's very, very close. Well, that's what he missed it by. The Argos are going to go for it because with the lack of success they've had with Hank Alyssa kicking field goals, they would much rather take their chances on picking up a foot.
Let's have a look and see who made that hit. We know Leo Ezrins was in there. He makes the initial contact, and Zambiasi, Priestner, they all give him a little hand.
Holloway keeps it himself, and now he does have it as he gets to the 27-yard line.
Pat and Leaf, you both watched Conradge Holloway from the day that he broke into the league with Tommy Clements with the Ottawa Rough Riders. I was thinking in the games watching him, despite the 2 losses, but the 3 games that they've played and now this one, it's the best I've seen him look, quite frankly. I can't remember him looking sharper.
Well, I wouldn't disagree with that, and I would say this much, that the Argos better have everything crossed, because if he goes down, they're going to be in serious trouble.
Well, they're the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Right. Holloway Holloway threw it sidearm. That was an amazing play by the Toronto quarterback because there was no shot that he was going to be able to get the ball away. He just sidearmed it to Bob Bronk. And though he didn't pick up much, it was a great play by Holloway.
Well, he's got Mike Walker all over him in his face, and just kind of a pitch to second base as he hits Bronk, and Grover Covington's right there to meet him. But Conrich is an old shortstop, so he's got that arm action.
Drafted by the Montreal Expos many years ago out of the University of Tennessee.
What do you think he thinks when he looks at those baseball salaries averaging $450,000?
Well, if he's smart, he doesn't think about it.
I think you're right.
Holloway to Bronk. And Bronk is inside the 15 to about the 13-yard line. It's another Toronto first down. John Priestner was there to bring him down on the final play of the first quarter. The Toronto Argonauts are banging on touchdown door, and we'll see if they can move in when we come back for the second quarter of play. At the end of one, Hamilton leads it 2-0. As we begin the second quarter here in Ivor Wynne Stadium, a flag is down. And Holloway is in the end zone for the touchdown, but it is against the Toronto Argonauts. Well, it's a holding penalty, as you saw, indicated by referee Ross Perrier against the Argos.
Let's have a look. Conrich Holloway, really nobody to throw to. Excellent coverage downfield, and it just took a little too long to develop. The lineman got caught holding, but what a great effort he makes just to get into the end zone, nevertheless. Took a good shot from Les Brown.
Good elbow. So Bob Obilovich has to be believing right at this point that his club is snake bitten because they have had a lot of adversity early in this season. Pass is caught, but it's probably a loss. Greg Holmes made a good grab, but Les Brown was all over him.
Les Brown, great reaction to come up on that quick screen. You've got to get there initially or you're going to get blocked by the lineman. He made a nice play. There you see the Chevy first quarter stats. The Toronto Argonauts all over the Hamilton Tiger Cats in total yardage, but Hamilton still hanging on to that 2-0 lead.
Well, that isn't very impressive. 13 total yards.
Can't score if you don't get any first downs.
It's second down, about 14 yards to go. Toronto as Holloway throws. Touchdown. Jeff Townsend. A perfect strike from Conrad Holloway to Jeff Townsend, and the Argos go out in front.
Oh, he just made a great play, taking it down the seam, and give Conrad Holloway a lot of credit. He just rifled that football in there, and the Argonauts finally get on the scoreboard, but great execution.
Jeff Townsend from Boston College. He's a Canadian boy who has been trying to break into a starting lineup position with the Argos and been unable to do so. As Hank Olisic's point after is good. The Argos, for the first time in this ball game, get on the scoreboard, but take the lead at 7-2.
Well, he's working on the middle safety, Paul Bennett. He can't get there in time, and that's a perfect strike. 22 yards, 7-2 Argos.
We'll be back with the Toronto kickoff in just a moment.
Cox has got more problems. That foot in which he had the broken bone is acting up again. Dr. Jackson has been looking at it and says that he is having trouble making cuts. So they've taken the shoe off, they've checked the foot, they have re-taped it. He's putting the shoe back on, and he's going to try to continue, but it could be a bad break if it occurs at this point, because it would mean that they'd have to fill that spot, and they were counting on Cox in this game, as Leaf was telling you earlier, for some big offensive duties.
Pretty good break for Jeff Townsend, though, as he got to play slot back and score a touchdown.
Olisic's kickoff bounces to Howard Fields at his 3-yard line. He was very unfortunate that the Argos were able to trip him up. Walter Ballard, number 79, just hit him on the ankle just as Fields was trying to get to the outside, and it was wide open for him.
Well, they're counting on some heavy-duty pass rush from number 79, Walter Ballard, coming over from Calgary Stampeders in the offseason in that compensation for signing of quarterback Joe Barnes, and they've got to get some pass rush from him and James Curry and the rest of that front four.
First down, Ticats from their 19-yard line. And Tedford goes down in the arms of Clyde Glover, the rookie from Fresno State, number 58.
Sacked by Clyde Glover.
Two rookies playing on that left side for Toronto. 58 is Clyde Glover, 77 is Rod Harding. And there's a look at James Curry.
Well, you can't fault the offensive line here. Look, they've given Tedford enough time to step up in that pocket, but his receivers just didn't do a good job of getting open, and that's one of those sacks that's going to go against you, but really the offensive line did a pretty darn good job.
The loss is 7 yards, so make it 2nd and 17. Tedford goes deep looking for Rufus Crawford, and the ball is picked off by Dennis Clay. Terrific determination by Dennis Clay, who returns it all the way down to the Hamilton 8-yard line. So the Toronto Argonauts, who lead the ball game 7-2, have an opportunity to increase that margin when we come back.
That Dennis Clay might be involved in this play, and he sure did, as he's in coverage against Rufus Crawford down the sideline. Watch how he turns, locates the football high in the air, and that is just a fabulous play. Second-year defensive back from the University of Oregon. Another look from the end zone. He brings it back 40 yards, and the Argonauts are in great shape.
Well, they sure are in great shape. They're leading the ball game at the moment 7-2, and they have a first down inside the Hamilton 10-yard line. Jeff Townsend is still in there in place of Steve Cox. Townsend is number 30. He has the Argo touchdown. The flag is down, and so is Holloway for a loss of 2 by Grover Covington, number 77.
There's a penalty marker on the play.
Well, it must have been against one of the defensive backs. Holding against Hamilton, that's a tough one.
Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Holding, Hamilton, number 77.
First grab, Grover Covington, number 77, was assessed the holding call.
He's not a defensive back.
No, I wonder who he held, because he was there to make the tackle on Holloway as well. Maybe he grabbed one of the receivers as they were rolling out of there. Terry Taylor is dropped right at the line of scrimmage. Mike Walker, number 65, excuse me, Mitchell Price, 65, was there to bring him down.
In fact, you were right. It was number 61, Mike Walker, who really makes the play. Watch the penetration. He forces Kerry Taylor back to the inside. There it is. He overruns it a bit, but there's 65, Mitchell Price, ready to clean up.
One of the great problems with this Hamilton defense is going to be if they're on the field too long. Leaf, you and I were talking to Howard Fields. He said, boy, if our offense doesn't give us a little breathing time, we're going to be in tough tonight. And thus far, they haven't given them any.
He said, we've been getting awfully tired in the fourth quarter.
Flag is down once again. Procedure penalty probably against Toronto as the pass is knocked away by Paul Bennett. Procedure penalty against the Argonauts.
Well, they should decline this one and
Absolutely.
give Hank the shot at 3. I'm sure that's what they'll do.
Procedure, Toronto, number 51. Declined, third down.
That's the same old story, Pat. The Argos have been their own worst enemy this year. Once again, they blow a good opportunity to score a touchdown.
Well, you're going to see Hank, if he misses his field goal, be blamed, criticized throughout certainly the Toronto media. But the facts are, the offense, as you point out, Leaf should have put that ball in the end zone, and they just haven't been doing it.
Well, having said that, Hank is entitled to all the criticism that he's received. And this is a 12-yard field goal.
I think he's going to make this one.
Wow. That's quite a prediction. He does. And the Argos are out in front of the Ticats now by 8 points, 10-2.
Rather interesting that Bernie Ruoff was defending his fellow kicker over this past week.
Ah, they're all in a fraternity.
No, I know. He says, I think they're expecting too much too soon. They take a great punter, tell him he's a kicker. He says you can't miss-hit a punt for 40 yards, but you can't miss-hit a field goal.
Bill, if you believe that, I got some land in Florida you got to have a good look at.
Should there be overtime in the CFL regular season? Yes. 1-900-720-3720. No. 1-900-724-4720, a 50-cent service charge. How do you vote, fellas?
I think there should be, and last night it would have been a real test for it, because had the Winnipeg Blue Bombers got that 2-point conversion, that game would have ended in a tie. And I think you'll see overtime in the CFL. This is Johnny Shepard. And Shepard has dropped back to the line of scrimmage. That was just strung out so neatly. William Mitchell was over there, and so too was Don Moan. They just strung the play right out, and there was no room for Shepard to go anyplace.
Oh, yeah, they sure did. And Darrell Wilson, number 13, the outside guy, wouldn't let Shepard get outside. Turned him back in where he got some help. Well, Argonaut defense has played well tonight. They just haven't given Tedford any breathing room, and they've done a good job on his receivers.
So make it 2nd and 11. Ticats at their 34. Pass is complete to Johnny Shepard, but he'll be short of the first down by a couple of yards. Mike Emery, 75, and William Mitchell, 39, were there to drop him for the Argos.
That's a lot of work for 8 yards.
Mitchell and Emery in on the tackle.
I really believe that Tedford is going to have to take off and start running the ball to generate some kind of an offense for the Ticats.
Well, he's been mostly drop back here in the first half tonight, and it's pretty difficult to take off and run. If he goes to the rollout, at least you got a few options. That's what they've done in Montreal with Turner Gill, and it's really paid dividends, and I don't see why it wouldn't work here.
Bernie Ruoff's punt into the wind is not too deep. Gets a good roll, though, and Carinci takes it at the 29-yard line and is forced out as he gets to the 40. So that's an 11-yard return by Jan Carinci of that 38-yard punt. The Argos are out in front of Hamilton, 10-2. We'll be back to see what the Argos can do in just a moment. The general manager, Don Holtby, Gord Bunke, and Bill Holdsworth, they have done a great job in Ottawa promoting the club. And this Sunday in Ottawa, it's Western Days. They're going to have a breakfast at 11:30 at Lansdowne Park. It's going to be a lot of fun as the Calgary Stampeders are in town. Now, if you're a Western fan and you happen to be living in the capital, make sure you get out there and cheer for those Stampeders. And if you're in Ottawa, it looks like you've got a good football team being built there by Joe Moss, so go out and support them. Holloway's pass is complete to Terry Greer. And Greer was tripped up by Paul Bennett, then covered by Donovan Rose as he got to the 50-yard line. Boy, Terry Greer has been just so great since he's been with the Toronto Argonauts and having his best season ever. Let's watch.
Smooth as silk as he cuts inside the cornerback, Donovan Rose, 20 yards on the post pattern, and he and Holloway, they're an item, those two.
He's off to his best start ever, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. This time, Holloway threw the ball behind him. But coming into this game, Terry Greer had caught 4 touchdown passes and 19 receptions from this man, Conrad Holloway, who is shaken up on the play. And this is the one thing the Toronto Argonauts cannot afford to lose. And it looks like the knee.
Oh boy, you don't like to see that. 14-19 in this ball game, having just a tremendous year, a year that made me think back to 1983 when they won the Grey Cup and how effective he was. He was the Shenley Award recipient that year as outstanding player in the country, and this does not look good.
Well, we are going to see Mark Cassell, who was a 9th-round draft pick of the National Football League Chicago Bears in 1984. He really did have a brilliant career at Montclair State College. He was the most successful passer in the school's history, but he is a rookie in pro football, and his task now will become a major one. Bill?
Those injuries, Pat, are really piling up. Not only Holloway, but we've got a new report in Dan Ferroni, and that is it's a hamstring problem, not a knock on the knee, so they've changed their decision. He will not be back in this ball game. For Steve Cox, they're afraid he might have rebroken that bone in the left foot. They don't know for sure, but he is out for the game, and they'll x-ray tomorrow. Injuries can really kill a club, but especially this one to Holloway if it turns out to be serious.
Well, it certainly doesn't look good at this moment.
A lot of pressure on this young man. 6'3", 230 pounds. He's big enough. He's bigger than most linebackers in the Canadian Football League, but he's coming into a pretty tough situation. The Argonauts are ahead 10-2 in the second quarter. We'll see what Mark Cassell can do.
Well, we hate to see this one. So Mark Cassell, a two-time NCAA Division II All-American, takes over at quarterback on 2nd and 10. And on his first pass, he goes deep to Jeff Townsend, and he's got it inside the 10-yard line at the 9. What a way to start a professional career. They probably thought he'd go to something safe. Instead, Mark Cassell drops back and fires a beauty to Jeff Townsend.
Pretty sloppy defense by the Ticats. They're in zone coverage. Donovan Rose has got to get back. That's his corner of the field. He doesn't make the play, and Mark Cassell throws it over his head, and a great catch by Jeff Townsend.
First down, Toronto at the Hamilton 9-yard line. And Cassell runs out as he gets to about the 8 for a pickup of the yard.
Boy, he threw that ball nicely into Townsend, didn't he? Just up and over top of the coverage.
And he showed you that he can run a little bit here, too, as he got away from some pressure from the Hamilton defense.
Well, at 6'3", 230, he's going to scare a few defensive backs. I wouldn't want to come up and hit him.
It is Toronto 10, Hamilton 2, with 7.5 minutes left to play in this second quarter. Cassell throws, complete. Touchdown, Argos, Jeff Townsend. The Argos have 2 touchdowns. Jeff Townsend has them both, one from Conrad Holloway and one from that man, the rookie Mark Cassell from Montclair State College.
Well, it's just a little push out to the sidelines, and Cassell delivers the ball in, and Townsend will not be denied, puts that head down and fights through Howard Fields to get into the end zone for his second major here in the first half.
Hank Elisic's point after. The flags come down. Elisic is good. Offside, Ticats. It's declined by the Argos, so the point after is good, and Toronto's lead is now 15 points, 17-2. Argos over the Hamilton Ticats as we look at Mark Cassell's first touchdown pass as a pro.
Oh, what I like is Howard Fields had pretty good position to make that tackle, but Townsend just fought right through him and got into the end zone. Oh, you know what I love to see is a young guy when he gets his chance to play. Now, Steve Cox, we don't like to see anybody hurt, but he's injured, and so you got to bring your backups in, and he's making the most of his opportunity. This is what a great position for Bob Abilovich to be in. Now he's been able to give a kid an opportunity to play, and he's really come through.
Well, what an impressive way to start for Mark Cassell, too. And a guy in Ottawa by the name of Ted Billow, who runs CJOH, is going to be delighted about that because he saw him play in Ottawa, and he said, I think this kid is going to be outstanding. Mind you, Ted's always been an Argonaut fan. So. Hank Elisic is ready to kick it off. Fields and Shepard are deep. And this will be Shepard trying to handle this one at his goal line. And he only gets to the 15 or 17-yard line, so again, the Ticats are going to be backed up as Jan Carinci, number 27, led the downfield tacklers for the Argos. Should there be overtime in the Canadian Football League regular season? If you think there should, dial 1-900-720-3720. If you don't believe there should, 1-900-720-4720. First down. Hamilton, the ball at their 17-yard line. Shepard, the ball carrier, And he's dropped by Walter Ballard.
What a great play by Ballard. Runs around the block and makes the tackle for a loss in the backfield.
Ballard coming over to the Argos from the Calgary Stampeders as compensation when the Stampeders signed Joe Barnes.
It's like the check. Have the Ticats picked up a first down in this first half?
Not that I'm aware.
No.
Pass is complete to the 20-yard line, but snowed under immediately was Rufus Crawford by Dennis Clay. Bill?
Conrad Holloway's got that big ice bag on the left knee. He's walking up and down, and Dr. Jackson is not quite sure how severe the injury is, but it certainly appears to be severe enough to keep him out for the game. They've now got him flexing the knee back and forth, and as you know, and anybody who follows football knows, what they're concerned about is stretched or even torn knee ligaments that could put him out for close to the season. That's the concern, and they probably won't know about it until tomorrow.
Ernie Ruoff gets a pretty good punt away. Kerry Taylor at his 50-yard line. Go the other way, Kerry. He ended up losing some yardage as he's dropped at the 48. So, Mark Cassell will lead the Toronto Argonaut offense out onto the field. He'll enjoy pretty good field position at the 48-yard line. And the Argos enjoy a 15-point lead at 17-2.
Well, I'm not surprised they have the big lead because Ticats have played almost 24 minutes of football now and have yet to pick up their first down.
Cassell delivers to Kerry Taylor, and he'll be very close to a first down at the Hamilton 52-yard line. Shows some composure, though, doesn't he? And he had plenty of time to get rid of the ball, mind you.
Well, he sure did. And, you know, he comes in his initial series the last time and hits Townsend twice, one for a big gainer, one for a touchdown. So now he's got his confidence level up, and he's able to maneuver around in the backfield. Kerry Taylor does a good job coming back to the football, and he's getting something put together.
It is first down, Toronto at the Hamilton 52. And Cassell has another first down for Toronto as he steps out at the Hamilton 40-yard line. I've got to think that Bob Obilovich was cringing right
Well,
there.
you took the words right out of my mouth. There's Obi on the sidelines. He'll be sending a message in a hurry, I'm sure. Don't run.
Who would the disaster quarterback be? Do you know, Leif?
I'm sure it's Jan Carinci.
May as well. He does everything else for them.
Why not? Takes out the garbage.
And this is Carinci with the ball for a couple of yards to the Hamilton 38.
Correction, the ball carrier.
Boy, he's done everything they've ever asked of him. Wide receiver, slot back, rover, offensive back now. Maryland University product, and what a valuable performer he's been.
Well, he really enjoyed playing in the defensive secondary of the Argos at the rover spot, but he might be more valuable to them in this position.
Oh, I think he is, definitely. Although I think he still has ability to play back at safety.
The pass from Cassell to Kerry Taylor goes incomplete. Now Hank Alisic comes up. This would be a 45-yard field goal try. He's got the wind at his back, and that's what they're going to go. They're going to try the three-pointer. Hank has only been good on 2 of 5 so far this season. One of those coming in this ball game. But that one he hit dead center. So Hank Alisic has got to feel good about that, and the Argos obviously do too, because he's greeted by about 8 of them as he rushes to the sideline. Hank Alisic's 45-yard field goal gives Toronto a 20-2 lead with 3:48 left to play in this second quarter.
You know, it's funny with the kickers, when they miss a few and the other guys in the team know that they're really under the gun, it's like they have the plague. Nobody wants to walk anywhere near them, but when they get one or make 2 as he has tonight, they want to come over and give him a pat in the back and say, nice going, Hank. You're back on track now. Everything's going to be okay for the rest of the year.
Tedford's pass intended for Rufus Crawford was behind him, and he tried to make a diving attempt but couldn't bring it down.
Apropos to your statements, Leaf, did you see Conrad Holloway halfway out in the field congratulating Hank as he came off?
Well, I sure did, Bill. You know, I can't say enough about Conrad Holloway. The role that he has to play with this team is just so important. Obviously, he's got to play well at quarterback. He's injured now, but he has to be a spiritual and real team leader for the rest of the guys, and he's taken that role.
2nd and 10, Ticats. And Tedford is snowed under by Rodney Harding, number 77. Harding from Oklahoma State is a rookie, but in his first 3 games as a Toronto Argonaut, he did pick up 2 sacks and made 7 tackles and has played well here in the first half.
He does a good job. Fought off the initial block, and then when Tedford had a little bit of running room, he made the play.
This has been a long season in the first 2 weeks for the Hamilton Ticats. It's going to be a lot longer if they don't start generating some offense.
Well, Pat, I mean, at some point, you've got to tell it like it is, and I think their offense is so stereotyped that, to me, if I was a defensive coordinator, I'd like to play them every week because they don't give me any new looks. They come out with slot to each side, 2 wide receivers, no overload formations, straight drop back all night. I mean, all those 4 down linemen have to do is pin their ears back and start rushing the passer, and there's just no imagination to me.
Well, I can't agree with you more because we did the game where they played the BC Lions. They looked hopeless there. They generated just a little offense in Winnipeg, and we'll pursue that point when we come back. The Argos are out in front, 20-2. Taylor of the Argos to the Toronto 29-yard line, and that's where Toronto will put the ball into play, but they do have an injured player down on the field at this moment.
That is Kerry Taylor, Pat.
And that's Jeff Townsend, number 30 on your screen, who finally got to play some tonight because Steve Cox was injured early in the ball game. And what an opportunity he took. Scored 2 touchdowns, the only 2 that the Argos have managed, and certainly has to be a candidate as the offensive Carling O'Keefe game star for tonight's ball game, depending upon what happens in the next half and the 2 minutes and 48 seconds that are left to be played here in the second quarter.
Well, Townsend, a local Toronto boy, born in Mississauga, went to Boston College, and that's pretty good football down there. He's been with the Argonauts for 4 years, just biding his time, been a backup throughout that whole. He's been a spot starter throughout the season last year and a little bit the year before, but I just love seeing a guy get his chance and make the best of it.
Well, Townsend and Greg Holmes are inseparable on and off the field, and they're 2 guys who've been trying to work in to a starting position with the Argos. LaSalle dumps it into the middle to Bob Bronk. Bronk is amazing. Picks up another 12 or 13 yards to give Toronto a first down and some breathing room. But I don't think I've ever seen him brought down one-on-one.
It's tough when you get him out in the open field. Might just mention that with the injury to Kerry Taylor, Paul Pearson, number 25, who has a bad hamstring, is now in the ball game. And you're right, Pat. Look at that extra effort to pick up a few yards and get that first down.
He told us he wanted to get in before the game, if you recall, Leaf.
Oh, he does.
This is Jan Carinci, and Carinci gets to the line of scrimmage not much further.
Chatting with Paul earlier, he felt like he's just become injury prone. He's had a hamstring problem since training camp. Now it was the other leg. Tonight he felt it, or the other day he felt a twinge in there, cramping, and he said, I think I'm either getting old or I'm injury prone.
You know, getting back to what you were saying about the Hamilton Ticat offense, it really is very staid, very boring, and I don't think they utilize their people properly.
I don't think so either.
The pass was intended for Greg Holmes, of whom we spoke just a moment ago, but it was over his head.
Well, you've got a guy like Rocky DiPietro, who a couple of years ago was the outstanding Canadian in the country, and he hasn't seen a ball thrown his way, not even on a little, like 3-4 yard quick out pattern. Get him the ball quickly so he can maybe run a few yards and get you a little momentum, but everything's been that straight drop back, and that puts a lot of pressure on your offensive line.
Well, it's funny you should mention Rocky DiPietro. This is the 3rd game of the season. He's caught a total of 2 passes. And none in this ball game.
There's something wrong when that happens.
Olisic's punting average, you see, is way down. He was punting into the wind previously. This time he puts it high, to Rufus Crawford. He takes it at the 27, gets to the 31, drops the ball, but then Zambiazzi is there to pick it up for Toronto. Now we're going to have a shoving match because the Ticat players took exception to the fact that Zambiazzi was dropped out of bounds. And it was Mike Emery, I believe, who did.
Well, it's Dan Rasevich, number 35, the reserve linebacker. And he really does give him a pretty, well, wait a sec.
Actually,
maybe
it's Hewitt.
No, it's Rasevich.
Oh,
you
yeah,
watch, he comes in now, and that's uncalled for.
There was a flag dropped there, but it's going to go against the Ticats. Unsportsmanlike conduct against the Ticats.
Yeah, number 37, Terry Lean, was the one who took exception to Rasevich taking Zambiazzi out of bounds. And like in hockey, it's always the guy that swings last that gets the call.
From their own 12-yard line, the Ticats begin. And Tedford ends up back at the 2 because he's sacked by Walter Ballard. How many passes have the Ticats completed tonight? They've completed 6 passes for a total of 28 yards.
Well, there's 1:39 remaining here in the first half, so if the Toronto Argonauts can keep the Hamilton Tiger Cats pinned deep in their own territory, they're going to give Mark Casale and the offense another opportunity to score.
Pass goes to Johnny Shepard, and he gets to the 5, which means that Bernie Ruoff will stand inside his end zone to punt. Don Moan was there to make the tackle on Johnny Shepard.
The breeze seems to have subsided a little bit, but nevertheless, Bernie Ruoff will still be kicking into the wind, so it'll be interesting to see. I think the Toronto Argonaut punt returners will probably line up around the Hamilton 50-yard line.
So Carl Brazeley will now join Jan Carinci back on the punt return team for the Argos as Bernie Ruoff stands 10 yards deep in his end zone. Drives this one to Brazeley at the Hamilton 51. And Brazeley gets it inside the 40 to about the 36-yard line. A 46-yard boot by Ruoff. But the Argos are going to have a golden opportunity to increase their 18-point lead.
Pat, there's a gentleman, a big fellow, sitting just in a box down the way from you named Harold Ballard, and I wonder if he's starting to think about opening the purse strings and spending big money to find himself a quarterback, such as he did before.
Well, I don't think that it's coincidental that the worst team in hockey and the worst team in football are both owned by the same person. Casale is dropped by 65, Mitchell Price, back at the 40-yard line.
Hey, that's a great play by Mitchell Price. He's a guy that's not giving up, that's for sure. Graduate from Livingston University, 3 years as a Tiger Cat, and he keeps working, fights off the block of center Ian Beckstead and makes the sack on Mark Casale.
I'll be talking with Mark right at the halftime whistle, too.
Casale's pass, he really drilled it in there, but it was coming so fast, Townsend didn't have a chance to grab it.
Or did Mark Streeter, number 20, because it was really more in his arms.
So Olisic is back out to try a 47-yard field goal.
You know, we've been on Jeff Tedford a little bit, but what often happens, he's given a game plan and certain things that he's supposed to call throughout a game. So often he's restricted to what the coaching staff wants him to call. So
absolutely.
Often you can't blame him and say, well, why doesn't he roll out or do this? Well, maybe it's not what they put in the game plan.
Olisic's field goal try is short. This is Paul Bennett. And Bennett gets out to the 15-yard line. You can't blame one player or a group of players or anything else. It starts at the top of an organization. It goes right through the general manager, through the coaching staff, personnel, directors, the whole routine. And the simple truth of the matter is that they've got a half-decent defense, but I think that defense is a much easier thing to assemble than a good offense.
I agree with you. Warren Hudson, number 37, the injured Argonaut. Fred Dunbar out to take care of him. He's the backup fullback in the Argonaut scheme of things, a graduate from the junior Oshawa Hawkeyes who did just an outstanding job a few weeks ago filling in a game against Saskatchewan and really made some key blocks and key plays.
Leaf, aren't you a little surprised at how inept this Hamilton offense is with a healthy Shepard and with Rufus Crawford back in that lineup?
Well, I really am, Bill, and to be honest with you, I'm a fan too. I love watching the football games, and I'm really disappointed because you've got Rufus Crawford, you've got Rocky DiPietro, you've got Johnny Shepard, who 2 years ago was just electrifying these fans in Hamilton, and they don't get them the ball. I mean, you've got to try and establish something, a little quick dump pass to Shepard or a little flat pass to Rocky or Rufus, and just try and get some momentum established, and really, quite frankly, we haven't seen any of that.
So the Ticats have 35 seconds to kill before they can get to the locker room and regroup, trailing by 18 points. Ball is at the Hamilton 15.5-yard line. Dump into the middle goes to Rocky DiPietro. Rocky gets over the 20 to about the 23 before Don Moan hauls him down.
Now they're into that hurry-up offense. They've still got 28 seconds left, and let's see if Tedford can get them moved downfield.
And they'll have a first down as Dave Graffey stretches out to the 30-yard line. And this is a jeer of derision, really, because the Ticats have just assembled no offense at all. 47 total yards of offense. Rocky DiPietro again makes the catch, this time at the 36-yard line. And finally, Jeff Tedford discovers him. 9 seconds left.
Well, they got to push it a little farther downfield if they want to get Bernie Ruoff in range for a field goal attempt.
They swing it out to Graffey. And all this does is increase the passing statistics of Jeff Tedford, but it doesn't do a whole lot to help them close the gap of 18 points. So this will be the final play of the half. Tedford's pass is caught by Rufus Crawford. As the first half comes to an end, the Ticat fans are booing. They're completely justified in doing so. However, I do think their defense played fairly well, gave it a full shot, but they've been on the field virtually most of that first half. Bill?
Mark Casale is the man who was put on the spot with the injury to Conrad Holloway. Now, when you have to go out into the play as you did, how does it affect you?
Well, right there and then, you have to start thinking about what you do in practice and what I did during the preseason games. Just got to, first play, you got a little butterflies, but then after that, everything just sets in.
Mark, but how about that long pass that you made on that very first play?
Well, I've been working with that pattern since day one at camp, so it's nothing new. Again, it's just a matter of going in there and taking what they give you. They gave us that route, so I threw the ball.
In other words, you had the idea you were going to go for that right off the bat when you went in.
Right, I just read my read and complete that pass, and my confidence built right after that.
Well, that had to make you really feel good.
Yeah, I picked up the team also because, they're a little nervous with a rookie coming in, and, I think I showed them I could do the job, so we'll see what happens.
Mark, you ran with the ball. Now, did the coach say anything when you came off the field?
Oh, no, not at all. That's the big thing about in CFL. You have to be able to run the ball as far as quarterbacks are concerned. I did that, and so far it's working.
1 point, though. With Holloway out, you at quarterback, there's nobody left if you get injured running that football.
Well, I can't play conservative. I just have to go out and do what I'm capable of doing and let the cards fall where they may.
In other words, if you're back and you will be in the second half, we're going to see you running the football again.
That's right. Just do what I can do and let everything else fall where they may.
Well, the confidence, the big thing. Mark Casale, congratulations, and we hope you can keep it up, and good luck.
Okay,
for a rookie, a nice move.
Okay.
Thank you. Mark Casale moving in, doing a big job, and with the score 20 for the Argonauts, 2 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, this is CTV's Friday Night Football.
Team of late. They played their 4th game in less than 3 weeks last night at home. And maybe they're starting to enjoy this hectic pace as they beat the defending Grey Cup champions. And it's a costly game for the Blue Bombers as Willard Reeves and Tom Clements are banged up. Reeves is out at the half. But Winnipeg is leading in the fourth quarter when Matt Dunnigan looks to the end zone and former Bomber Rick House makes a spectacular catch to put the Eskimos ahead. Fireworks here. Eskies deep in their own end. Dunnigan finds Chris Woods. This with just over a minute to play, and Woods rambles 89 yards down the sidelines, outrunning Wiley Turner. The convert gives Edmonton an 8-point bulge. Jackie Parker's Eskimos sense an upset. But the defending champion Bombers cannot be counted out. On the last play of the game, John Hufnagel in for Clements fires an 18-yard strike to Joe Popluski, and that sets up a dramatic 2-point conversion attempt for the tie. It is 25-23 Eskimos. But from only 5 yards away, the Bombers cannot find the end zone a second time. The Eskimos hang on to win by 2. Winnipeg's Cal Murphy dejected, Parker ecstatic. Both teams are now 2-2. Coming up on CTV tomorrow night, the battle of the unbeaten, BC and Montreal. On Sunday afternoon, the Calgary Stampeders are in Ottawa. On Thursday of next week, the best in the West, the BC Lions travel to Toronto to take on the Argonauts. 2 games on Friday, the Eastern Riders in Edmonton against those busy Eskimos, and the CTV Friday Nighter has Hamilton at Montreal. And on Saturday of next week, Saskatchewan is at Calgary. Coming up, the PWA Stars of the Week. This is CTV's Friday Night Football. Of the week. Offensive honors went to Derek Zeno of Ottawa, who registered the second best punt return game in CFL history, racking up 203 yards. Outstanding individual performances highlighted Week 3 of the Canadian Football League, and the subject of our Pacific Western Airlines Stars of the Week profile is defensive star Montreal's Ken Cianconi. Against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, number 75 slashed his way to 11 individual tackles and intercepted a pass, leading the Concords to their 3rd consecutive victory.
Sees him going down the middle of the field on the seam pattern. Paul Bennett cannot get over in time.
You know, some yardage and some touchdowns tonight because he would like to go with 5 Americans in that secondary, which is his lineup tonight. But he said if the offense doesn't perform, obviously Coach Abilovich will want an extra import in that offensive alignment, and I would probably lose one of those imports on defense. So he's got to be pleased at the way things are turning out right now. Argos are getting set to kick it off. And I would think that the first series of this ball game is going to tell us whether or not Hamilton is ever going to get back in it. They trail by 18 points, 20-2, as Hank Kolisic kicks it short. And the ball is grabbed by Carl Brazeley, and Toronto will have it at the Hamilton 45-yard line. Well, that's a pretty good way to make sure that Hamilton's offense isn't going to get on track. Don't allow him to get the football.
Pat, it's funny. I know the thinking of Bob Abilovich. We've lost the leads in the past. We've got a chance to bury these guys. Let's go right after them the start of the 3rd quarter, and Carl Brazeley makes a great catch in the onside kick. They've had teams on the ropes, but they haven't been able to deliver that knockout punch. Maybe this onside kick will really get them off to a great start in the second half.
They're starting at the Hamilton 45-yard line. The give is to Kerry Taylor. And Taylor picks up a yard at most as John Priestner, number 36, was there to bring him down. Taylor is an elusive little guy, as Leif was telling you. He's from South Connecticut State University, and coming into this ball game, he had caught 14 passes. Didn't have a touchdown as yet, but he showed that he is versatile by the ability to catch the football and also to run with it. He's averaged 10 yards every time he's carried the ball, except this last carry will bring it down. Pass is complete to Jeff Townsend, who's having his career best game tonight. Townsend is all the way down to the Hamilton 30 for a Toronto first down. Forced out by Donovan Rose.
Well, that's a play that should have picked up 3 or 4 yards. Howard Fields has got to come up and make the tackle. He had an opportunity, but Townsend slipped through, and another first down for the Argonauts. Here we have a chance to look at it, but Townsend spins to the outside. Fields falls off, and he's got a first down.
LaSalle just dumps it into the middle to Bob Bronk. And this time, a swarming Hamilton defense led by John Priestner, number 36, there to bring him down at the 30-yard line. Actually, they'll spot it closer to the 28. So make it 2nd down, 8 yards to go. It's Holmes 71 and Greer 10 as the outside receivers. Looking for Greer is Casal, and it's batted away. Donovan Rose, the cornerback on that side, number 26, was there to break it up.
Well, Terry Greer was in great shape, but Mark Casal just underthrew him a little bit, and Conrad is saying, well, don't worry about it. Go get him the next time. You've already got 1 touchdown pass tonight, but simply the ball underthrown, or Greer had a TD.
And he already has 4 coming into this game as we look at the performance of Donovan Rose to break that up. Hank Alissic's field goal try will come from the 36-yard line. And it's wide. And Hamilton will gladly concede the single point. So the Argonaut lead is now 19 points. Toronto 21, Hamilton 2, and the Ticats will have the ball when we come back.
For 7 years, we shared the place kicking duties.
Yeah. Hold it, Steve.
I did the holding, Jack did the kicking.
Give me a hand.
Now we're sharing Miller Lite.
It's brewed right here in Canada.
We drink it because it tastes great.
No, we drink it because it tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Tastes less filling.
Tastes great.
Hold it. Right there.
Hold it yourself.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Game as the Montreal Concords will host these Hamilton Tiger Cats. But the Concords aren't thinking of Hamilton right now. They've got that big game tomorrow in BC Place.
Well, and a spotter was in mid-season form in Montreal a couple of weeks ago when we saw him last. But eating carrots, I guess, in the wintertime. He was dynamite.
Hamilton now starting from their 35-yard line. This is their first possession of this second half. Bedford's pass is caught by Scott Colley for a gain of about 5 yards to the 40.
Well,
Carl Brazeley was on him immediately.
That's what you've got to do. I like it. 5-6 yards, go down hook, give him the ball quickly, and that's a good, positive first down play. You know, the defensive backs are going to be laying off because they're got the big lead, 21-2. They don't want to get beaten deep, so take those short passes.
Bedford with the completion for the first down up to the 48-yard line. Scott Colley with his second consecutive reception. With Clay and Brazeley again all over him.
And did a good job reading the zone there, found the soft spot, hooked up, and Tedford just laid the ball in there nicely. But this is the big thing Ticats have to do in the third quarter. Come out, get positive yardage on first down. I'm talking 6-7 yards, and then you got something to work with on second down.
Ball is at the Hamilton 48. And that's pretty positive because it looks like he may have a first down. And this is something we were suggesting in the first half. He's got to roll out of there.
Well, I'm sure they've had their meetings at halftime and just decided we've got to change up. We're not having any success what we're doing now, so let's go to the rollout, get the short pass on first down, and they may...
He's not afraid to go in head first, I'll tell you, and challenge those tacklers either. But that's liable to be a little foolhardy. You know, I was just thinking, gentlemen, that those BC Lions must be watching in on this game, and especially their head coach, Don Matthews. They got the very big game, as you have mentioned, tomorrow night against the Montreal Concords, the two undefeated teams in the Canadian Football League at 3-0. But then there's only 3 or 4 days, really, to get ready for the BC Lions, and they've got to take on these Argos at Exhibition Stadium, Toronto, on Thursday. Very little room to get ready, I'll tell you, and those are two big ones back-to-back for the Lions.
That'll be a tremendous game to watch tomorrow night here on CTV, BC and Montreal. Bedford keeps it himself on third and about a foot and picks up the first down. You know, we were talking about the BC Lions. They have such outstanding team speed. And when you've got that, you've got most of the battle licked in the Canadian Football League. You've got to have those guys who can turn it on. And I'm thinking, you know, of Kevan Jenkins, what an addition he's been to their offense.
He's exciting.
Mervyn Fernandez, Sandusky.
Kevan can catch, too. He's an exciting ball player.
Bedford throws intended for John Shepard, but it was too low. Carl Braisley was defending.
Gentlemen, you're talking about the lines, you're talking about a couple of offensive stars, but the thing about those lines is they're all fast. Their defensive linemen are small and very quick. Their offensive linemen are fast. Talking to Dennis Myers, the assistant coach for the Toronto Argonauts, he says the club with the best personnel in the league, as far as he's concerned, the one that really scares him, is the BC Lions. And he says it's that speed throughout the entire team that concerns him.
Well, they better tie their helmets on tomorrow night because the Concords have a very good defense, too, and they'll be in that ball game. You can count on it. Bedford's pass is knocked away at the last moment by Steve Johnson, who moved up from his rover spot just as Scott Colley thought he was going to make the reception, and Johnson was there to bat it away.
Well, when a ball stays in the air that long, that's what you hope to get from your middle safety, is that kind of reaction. Floats it out, trying to hit the corner, but number 19, Steve Johnson, who has just come over from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, makes an outstanding play.
So now Braisley will drop back along with Jan Carinci to return this punt from Bernie Ruout. End over end kick that goes out of bounds. Let's see where they'll spot it. Up around the 20. So the Argos are in pretty good shape, leading it by 19 points. 21-2, Toronto over Hamilton. We'll be back in a moment.
When you're out there calling balls and strikes, you have to have the eyes of an eagle because you really can't afford to miss a thing. Which is why I was one of the first to notice that Miller Lite is brewed right here in Canada. I really do like light. It tastes great and it tastes less filling. As I'm always telling the guys on the diamond, if you want to get anything by me, you've got to get up pretty early.
Light beer from Miller, now brewed in Canada. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Eastern time. Then we'll follow that up with the Du Maurier Golf Classic starting at 4 o'clock. Those are the best lady players in the world, and of course we'll have the football game for you at night as well. What an all-star lineup on CTV tomorrow and Sunday for that matter, because we'll have the final round of that Du Maurier Classic. This is Bob Bronk just hurdling people out to the 23-yard line for a pickup of about 5.
It's like a dream come true for sports nuts like you and I. We just sit there all afternoon. And...
You'll just be flying across Canada tomorrow. I'll be poolside.
No, I get out to Vancouver in time to watch the tennis final. You know I'll be watching that.
Lose a few dollars in gin on the way.
Not to you.
Second down, 5 yards to go for the Mark Cassell-led Toronto Argonauts. Pass is complete to Kerry Taylor, and Les Brown had him right around the waist and prevented him from getting that first down yardage.
I've been talking throughout the evening about Dr. Jackson, the team doctor for the Toronto Argonauts and one of the renowned world experts, as a matter of fact, in knee surgery and other athletic injuries. And I'd just like to tell you that he is heading an international medical symposium at the Harbor Castle next week in Toronto. This is in connection with the Masters Games. And talking about sports, there are going to be between 8,000 and 10,000 athletes participating starting August 7th in the Masters Games at Toronto. So you'll really have your fill there, Leaf.
Well, they're all older athletes. Would you be competing, Bill? This is Rufus Crawford from the 52-yard line, and he wriggles his way across midfield into the Toronto 52 before Darrell Wilson, number 13, brought him down.
Tell you, one good friend of ours who will be competing will be former Commissioner Jake Kadar. Will be rowing in the Masters Games this year, should there be overtime in the CFL regular season. Well, if you vote yes, 1-900-720-3720.
Pat, you're talking about the older people can participate in the Masters Games. The former Governor General, Roland Michener, 85 years of age, wanted to compete in tennis. There was nobody in the 80s. He's a little unhappy, but he's got to compete with the 70-year-olds. And he'll probably win.
Probably. Tedford dumps it into the middle to Rocky DiPietro. The ball comes loose. And timeout is whistled by referee Ross Perrier. Hamilton retained possession of the ball, and it's close enough to measure it for a first down.
A good play selection. Just block Rocky DiPietro up on that defensive end. Let him release downfield, catch the football. He couldn't hang on to it. Ticats fortunate to make the recovery. I believe Scott Colley, number 25, got in there to make the recovery, but they've got another first down. And let's see if Tedford can get something going. He's having success with that short game.
Well, what they desperately need, of course, is a touchdown, trailing by 19 points with 8 minutes, 5 seconds left to play in this third quarter. They had an opportunity very early in the football game, but they were only able to pick up a single point. But their offensive performance in this third quarter has been much better than their first half. Tedford's pass for Scully is knocked away by Steve Johnson.
Nice job. Just a three-man pattern to the wide side of the field. Steve Johnson's seen that 100 times before. He knows where all the receivers are going to end up, so he just reacts to the football and makes another good play to knock it away. That's good timing on that leap. Had Colley caught it, I'm sure he would have been out of bounds, but nevertheless, nice play. Third-year pro, as we see, from Mississippi State.
It's 2nd and 10, Ticats at the Toronto 42. Pass for Graffy is snuffed out immediately. Don Moen was there to make the stop for Toronto. There are markers on the field.
Penalty markers on the play.
There's the call.
Hamilton, number 69. Declined, third down.
That's Kerry Liorenko from the University of Cincinnati, who had a tryout with the Cincinnati Bengals, but is a Canadian boy.
He spent a couple of seasons in the USFL with the Chicago Blitz, I believe, at one time, who then moved to Arizona.
Bernie Ruoff stands on Hamilton's side of midfield. The punt on 3rd and 15. That's a good one away. And it'll go for a single point. Bernie was hoping to angle that one out deep in Toronto territory, but he put too much foot into it. And the Ticats pick up their 3rd single point of the evening. You know, we've mentioned a lot as you watch Jan Carinci walk back to the Toronto huddle, the name of Kerry Taylor. He started out as a running back last year in the camp of the San Diego Chargers. He later switched to a defensive back and was the second last cut by San Diego. The Argos brought him in as a defensive halfback, switched him to offense this year, and he's been very impressive.
Well, it shows the importance of the 21-day trials because they had him in last fall, liked what they saw, signed him for 1985 to training camp. It's been a pleasant surprise.
Casal's pass is drilled in there very close to the first down marker. The catch was made by Terry Greer. Don Rose was there to make the tackle. And they give him the 45-yard line, so that's the first down. Greg Holmes, another Canadian boy who's starting in that Toronto offense, number 71, is from Carroll College in the United States, went down there on a scholarship. And this is Kerry Taylor, but this time he's dropped for a loss of a couple of yards.
Pat, it's the real tip-off now. Every time Kerry Taylor lines up at that tailback spot, they're running the football. And there's no doubt the Hamilton front four was keying on that.
Pat, you were talking a little earlier, right at the end of the first half, about Warren Hudson, who played for the Oshawa Hawkeye Juniors, being injured. The word on Hudson is it's a knee injury, and they're rather concerned. They think there may be an operation in the offing. It does not look good.
Well, the Argos have certainly picked up their share of injuries. Casal dropped the pass from center, and now he's in a lot of trouble. And his pass is batted away. And Casal's got to be happy about that because he would have lost about 15 yards on the play. He had very little opportunity to complete it. He was going to throw it right down the touchline and probably hope that somebody would knock it out of bounds.
He had a little extra speed here when he saw number 77, Grover Covington, at 6'3", 255 coming after him. And turn it on. Let me get out of bounds or get rid of it. I don't want to get hit by him. Grover has got biceps as big as my thighs. They are huge. He loves to do those curls. Let's go to the beach in the off-season.
That's Paul Bennett waiting for Hank Olisic's punt. But it'll be Rufus Crawford who will handle it at the Hamilton 33. Ben Zambiazzi threw a crunching block on Mike Emery, who is still down. Emery never did see him. Zambiazzi hit him from the blind side. There's a penalty marker down, and we'll find out what that's about when we come back. The Argos lead it by 18 points. Tiger Cats is called on Ben Zambiazzi. Let's watch it.
Watch the hit. There's Mike Emery chasing the ball carrier, and he
just
gets him
blindsided him.
Yeah, he got him from behind. That's a good call.
Ticats start at their 17-yard line, trailing by 21-3. Look out. Tedford is dropped by number 79, Walter Ballard.
You didn't say Harold Ballard.
I was going to say Harold.
Harold might have to get out there pretty soon, but Tedford's all hung up. He's got a one-man pattern to Scott Colley. It's covered and no place to go, and Walter Ballard sneaks in from the backside and delivers a pretty good hit.
Walter's a nice, tidy 6'2", 235 pounds, running full steam ahead. The loss was only 5 yards. Pass is complete to Rufus Crawford. And Rufus gets out over the 20 to about the 23. He's well short of the first down, however.
Boy, you can see he's just itching to get his hands on the football and get some running room. He really hasn't been able to get on track tonight. Well, he hasn't had the ball thrown him too often, but he's a great performer. As Bill Stevenson mentioned earlier, set the CFL all-time total offense record last season, a mark that had stood for 28 years, Hal Patterson held. And that combines kickoff, punt returns, pass receiving, rushing, and everything. Comes to a total. (2,896 yards he amassed last season. That's quite an achievement.
And Bernie Ruoff, who's the all-time pro punter, has just uncorked one that Jan Carinci is returning for the Argos to the 44-yard line. Bernie Ruoff leads all of pro football, any league, in number of punts, yardage amassed, and everything else. And as a matter of fact, he's accounted for Hamilton's 3 points tonight. 55-yard boot by Ruoff on that occasion.
Well, as we've told you, tomorrow night, Bill Stevenson and I will join Dale Isaac to bring you what should be just an outstanding contest between the Montreal Concords and the BC Lions. I understand they're supposed to be just the biggest crowd of the year out there, and they'll be whooping it up at BC Place.
And I'll bet the Montreal fans will be sitting back and ready for a great game. Their Concords have really had a fine year thus far.
And nobody could be happier for Joe Gillette than all football fans. This is Kerry Taylor. And Taylor is down to the Hamilton 31-yard line. Nothing fancy, just came right across the middle, and Casale hit him on the dead run. Donovan Rhodes and Howard Fields brought him down.
Well, I've been impressed with Mark Casale. Look how he steps up into the pocket and throws a strike, and that's good execution. Nice catch by Kerry Taylor in traffic, and he turns that into a 35-yard gain.
Argos on the move again with 2:45 left in this third quarter. They have a first down at the Hamilton 31. Bob Bronk. He just dances his way through there inside the 25 to about the 23 for a pickup of 8 before John Priestner, with help from Leo Ezrins, brings him down.
Well, he's learning the finesse moves, too. A nice little bit of footwork to elude one tackler and pick up a few extra yards.
You know, I don't think there's any doubt that the way Casale has been going and the fact he's a rookie, had very little experience, he may be surprising a few people because he has been very competent in there since taking over for Condredge Holloway.
Well, it must be somewhat of a relief to Bob Abilovich to find out that the young fella can play, and he's done a pretty darn good job since he's come in relief for Condredge Holloway.
It's second down, 2 yards to go, Toronto. The ball is at the Hamilton 23. And that'll be a first down as they just barrel right ahead with Kerry Taylor carrying the ball to the 19-yard line. Taylor is listed at 5'10", 190 pounds. He doesn't look that tall, but he sure is a determined little guy. Well, this is the time in the ball game that a defense that has been on the field all night starts to wilt a little bit. Cassell's pass to a wide-open Kerry Taylor. He has the first down to the Hamilton 5-yard line. Mark Streeter brought him down at that point.
Well, Kerry Taylor, nothing fancy about this. A little crossing pattern between himself and Jan Carinci, and Mark Cassell finds him, hits the open guy, and another first down. The Argos are threatening.
They are threatening right now to turn out the lights on the Hamilton Ticats because they lead at 21-3. Passes to Carinci, and he stopped as he gets to the 4-yard line. Ben Zambiazzi met him there.
Boy, you could see the determination of Jan Carinci as he made that final cutback, wanting to get into the end zone, but it's an outstanding hit by Ben Zambiazzi to stop him dead in his tracks. Here's where it gets touchy for a young quarterback when you're trying to finish off a drive. Let's see if Mark Cassell can come up with it.
Touchdown, Terry Greer. And Greer was shaken up as he hit that asphalt and then slid into the wall. But he's up. And picks up another Toronto touchdown.
Now this is his 5th touchdown reception of the season. Mark Cassell does a good job to get outside the containment. Terry Greer, a bit of a push-off on Donovan Rose, and he comes up with the touchdown reception. Mark Cassell's 2nd touchdown pass of the evening.
Well, I know a friend of mine out in Lethbridge, Alberta, Jeff Warren from Toronto, has got to be happy. Happy because the Argos are out in front, and also happy because he's celebrating his 30th birthday on Saturday, tomorrow. So the Argos lead is now a solid 25 points. 28-3, Toronto leads Hamilton.
Well, Mark Cassell's done an excellent job. Sorry, Bill, we're going to have one more look at it. He really does a good job to get outside the containment. Grover Covington coming from that defensive end spot, but he hangs in and throws a strike to Terry Greer.
It's a long road back for Hamilton, not only in this game, but in this season.
A very difficult one, as you point out, Pat, and especially in front of the biggest crowd that they've had this season, and they have been imploring the fans and saying, look, we're a football club that is getting ready to roll. Come on out and see us. Tonight, they thought, with their 2 big guns going back into the offense in good health, and the defense that had been playing well, especially against Winnipeg, and 2 weeks to prepare, that they were going to be able to put on a show against the Argos, but it has not been the case.
The Wessex kickoff is handled by Johnny Shepard. And again, that cover team of the Toronto Argonauts does a good job. They've got him inside the 25-yard line. Steve Delcole, number 57, was first down.
Well, you see a new quarterback, Hobart, going in, so Bruno's going to try everything.
From the University of Idaho, Ken Hobart. And if I'm not mistaken, he was acquired from the Edmonton Eskimos, and Edmonton had high hopes for Hobart. I can remember speaking with Jackie Parker about him last year, and they thought that he was a young man who could do something. Well, he does something right off the bat. He runs for a first down out to the 35-yard line before James Curry was there to upend him on the final play of the 3rd quarter. Ken Hobart gives Hamilton a first down and brings the crowd to life, but the Argos are well in front, 28-3. We'll be back for the 4th quarter in a moment. For Hamilton, flag comes down. As Hobart runs for another first down, but I suspect it could be a holding call, and that's unfortunate because Hamilton desperately needs to get some offense going so these fans can at least have something to get excited about.
But he's got one intention when he's taking that snap from center. He's decided, I'm going to run with the football and create my own excitement out here tonight.
Holding Hamilton, number 69. First down repeated.
Well, again, that's Kerry Lirenko.
Can't quite see at the top of your screen. Well, there he's got a pretty good hold on Walter Ballard, but Ken Hobart, originally drafted by Jacksonville in the USFL, kicked around a little bit, signed as a free agent by Edmonton, and then, of course, acquired in the preseason with a trade for Ross Francis, offensive guard.
Hobart's pass was intended for Ken Stabler, and I thought that Steve Johnson had a hand on his shoulder, to be honest with you. Or, excuse me, was it Bo Metcalf?
Yeah, it was Bo Metcalf, and I think you're right. Seemed to have that arm up top as Stapler tried to cut back into the middle, but of course Metcalf's entitled to his area of the field as well. If Stapler starts cutting back on him to adjust to the football, he can't cut off Metcalf.
Is he entitled to take the sweater right off him?
No, it wasn't that bad. Come on.
So it's second down and 20, Hamilton. Hobart's pass is complete to Rocky DiPietro, and he will have a first down. That was a great throw by Hobart. Now let's see where they're going to spot it. They're going to spot it right at the 45-yard line, which if they put it on the line, he's going to be a foot short, but if they put it at the 46, he should have it.
They've spotted it, as you pointed out, Pat, about a foot short.
I wonder if the Ticats will go for it.
I suspect.
321 yards, Toronto's offense, 112 for Hamilton on the Chevrolet three-quarter statistical board.
Some sardonic Hamilton fan behind me yelled a few moments ago. He says, well, we're throwing a no-hitter at him.
You've got to feel sorry for the Hamilton Ticat players, though, because let's face it, they're as competitive as anybody else playing in this league. And they'd like to get something going. Ken Hobart has provided some excitement since coming in, though.
Well, you know, Pat, they have got, as we have pointed out, rookie quarterbacking and suspect in the quarterbacking and needs experience, but they've got some pretty fair talent throughout the rest of the squad. And certainly not as bad as they look here. At least I don't feel they have. Do you, Lee?
No, I don't think so at all, Bill. I think they've got pretty good personnel. I just think they have to use them a little better, and then they have to, that blame falls directly, I feel, with the coaching staff. They've got to try and use the talent they've got available.
James Curry is the injured Toronto Argonaut. We'll find out his condition when we come back. The Argos comfortably in front, 28-3.
Sunday, August 18th, 1:30.
To haul James Curry around the field much longer.
I got to tell Freddie on you.
13:28 left to play in the fourth quarter. Toronto 28, Hamilton 3. And Ken Hobart in relief of Jeff Tedford at quarterback for Hamilton. And he's brought this crowd to life with an excellent couple of throws and some thrilling runs. Again, he throws complete to Steve Stapler. Stapler was hit by Carl Braisley after a pickup of about 6 or 7. Ball is at the Hamilton 52-yard line.
He got hit by Carl Braisley as he comes up. Staples just kind of wants to slide out of bounds, but Braisley comes up and lays the lumber on him pretty good. Steve Delcall, number 57, in replacing James Curry.
Hobart's pass is tipped and right into the hands of Rocky DiPietro. Dropped down by Mike Emery, but again, it's another Hamilton first down.
It's about time they got a lucky break, too. The ball's tipped. It's either William Mitchell or 39, Don Moen. It's William Mitchell that gets a hand on it, but Rocky DiPietro, good concentration, makes the catch, and Ticats have another first down.
At the Toronto 45-yard line with 12.5 minutes left to play in this ball game. Hobart going deep, looking for Steve Stapler, but it is incomplete. Stapler was looking for an interference call, but the ball was well over his head. Hobart certainly showed you a bit of an arm, though. He can put it up there.
Sure can. Ticats did a good job picking up the blitz, too. Gave him lots of time to throw that football. You know, for the most part tonight, the Ticat offensive line has done an excellent job giving the quarterbacks time. They just have not been able to find an open receiver. It's been their big problem.
2nd and 10, Hamilton. And Hobart only picks up a yard or two. Rod Harding, number 77, was first there to bring him down, along with Don Moan. So now, what will they do? Trailing by 25 points, 28-3.
Not much of a decision here.
I wouldn't think so. Hobart's pass intended for Rocky DiPietro is broken up. William Mitchell, the middle linebacker, was in there. Rocky couldn't hang on, close to the first down marker. But Toronto will take over the ball on downs at the 44-yard line, their own. Bill?
James Curry trying to walk off a bad knee. It's the same knee that was injured earlier, the right one. It is tender, but as the Argos say, they're just not sure how bad it is. They just hope it is not too bad, and so they're letting him walk on it. Freddie Dunbar says outside of the tenderness, we hope he's going to be all right.
Give is inside to Bob Bronk, and he just bowls his way ahead over the 45 to about the 48-yard line. He'll have a pickup of 4 yards. Clock is running with 11 minutes left to play in the ball game. A ball game that is going to move Toronto to a 500 position on the field on the season. 2 wins, 2 losses. And the Argos deep down probably feel they should be 4-0, but they're not. Cassell throws it on the way down. It's complete to Carinci. And he will have a first down at the 53-yard line. Ticat fans and Grover Covington are a little bit upset. They felt that Covington had Mark Cassell wrapped up, but he was allowed to throw the football. John Priestner was over there arguing with the officials.
Well, the ruling is if he's still able to throw that football without fear of being injured, the officials will allow the play to continue, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, it's a good thing he didn't twist his leg on. He was hanging off, rather. He was hanging onto it long enough.
But it's a Toronto first down at the Hamilton 52. This is Kerry Taylor. Oh, he did a nice move to cut it back inside and got to the 46-yard line. He only picked up about 5 yards, but it looked like he was going to lose a lot. Leo Ezrin, 72, and Mark Streeter, 20, combined on the stop for Hamilton.
Well, if you're the Toronto Argonauts, you don't like to have a lot of injuries during a football game, but really on the bright side, it's given a lot of guys some playing time. I'm talking about Tom Trefo at offensive left guard, Jeff Townsend and Mark Cassell, and they've all played extremely well. That should be a pleasant surprise for Bob Gavrilovich.
Well, there was a broken pattern there because Cassell went deep. And if he was looking for Terry Greer, Greer did a post at that moment, and the ball just went 20 yards beyond him.
I know that Obie isn't thinking about it now, but the Argonaut head coach will most certainly be scratching his head tomorrow when he takes a look at all these injuries. Holloway, Ferroni, Cox, Hudson, Curry, and a few other bumps and bruises. And then says, now we got to get ready for those BC Lions Thursday coming to town.
That's hard to believe, but that's Hank Alisic's average on the night, 29.5 yards off 6 punts. High end over end to Paul Bennett, and it bounces right through his hands. at the 7-yard line, so the Ticats are going to be in a big hole when they come back. It is Toronto 28, Hamilton 3. We'll be back in a moment. Canadian Football League regular season. Why don't you let the league know how you feel? If you want to vote yes, dial 1-900-720-3720. No, 1-900-720-4720. It'll cost you 50 cents to make the league aware of how you feel.
And there you see in the background Hamilton's version of the Statue of Liberty, the smokestacks of Stelco and DeFasco in the background.
Isn't he nice? From the 8-yard line, the handoff goes to Johnny Shepard, and Shepard gets out to the 15. Gain of 7 before Dan Rasevich, number 35, and Darrell Wilson, number 13, combined on the tackle.
Well, when the Argonauts decided to go with 2 Canadian linebackers, and I'm talking about Don Moen and Mike Emery, they had to get a good, reliable backup, and that was number 35, Dan Rasevich, who came over from the Calgary Stampeders in that Emmanuel Tolbert deal.
Rasevich played last year in Ottawa and started about 8 or 9 games. They give to Graffy, and Dave picks up the first down out very close to the 25-yard line.
He's stopped by Dan Rasevich.
Dave Graffy's been around for 5 years, graduate from Wilfrid Laurier, has not had a lot of playing time, mostly special teams player, but now since they released Mark Bragagnolo and just before the regular season, and with a few changes, he's their starting fullback.
Yep, this is the thing I like better about Hobart than Tedford. He'll make up his mind in a hurry. He saw that he couldn't find anybody open. He just pulled the ball down. Didn't pick up a lot of yardage, but did manage 4. Steve Delcole was there to bring him down.
There's my old buddy, Ben Zambiazzi, taking a little breather on the sidelines. He had a good career in the CFL. Made Hamilton his home now, in business here.
They call him the Cookie Monster because that's the business he's in. Hobart's pass is caught by Steve Stapler for another first down in front of Bo Metcalf.
Good cookies, too. Excellent. Got the chocolate, what he calls the chocolate chunk.
Ben's got a pretty good story about Johnny Shepard he was telling us a few weeks ago, Leaf. But the fact that Johnny Shepard is so agile, he said, all right, Ben, he said, see how high you can jump on the basketball court, and I'll kick higher than you. So Ben leaped as high as he could, got his hand up to the top of the rim of the basketball net, and then Shepard went, kicked, and hit the backboard above the rim.
There's a flag down as the pass was complete to Scott Colley. Very close to the first down marker, but let's wait and see what the penalty marker decides here. Well, it's against Hamilton.
That's a pretty good catch by Scott Colley, too. Shielded off the defensive back, Carl Bracely.
Holding Hamilton, number 69. First down repeated.
Boy, that's Lirenko again. That's his 3rd holding penalty of the ball game.
Well, he's got a tough job. He's working on Walter Ballard. But 3 in 1 game. He's going to hear about that in a film session tomorrow, I'm sure.
So it's 1st and 20. Hamilton back at their 29-yard line. Swing it out to Shepard. And Shepard fights his way over the 35 to about the 38-yard line. So he picks up 8 of the 10 that they were penalized. And it'll bring up 2nd and long, Hamilton. There's a lady all decked out in her best for this Friday evening football game in Hamilton.
Good crowd in Hamilton. Beautiful night.
Second down, about 11 yards to go. Hobart's pass is picked up by Carl Bracely, and Toronto will be on the move again at the Hamilton 46-yard line. Argos lead it 28-3. We'll be back in a moment. Young season.
Just a bad throw by the young quarterback. Had some pressure coming from James Curry, but underthrew Scott Colley, and Carl Bracely comes up with the interception.
That was Carl.
Yeah, good guy. Well, Well, they're playing the song "The Heat is On" in the background, and I suspect after this ball game, the heat will be on Al Bruin and his coaching staff. Ticats only managing to score 3 points in this ball game.
And Toronto takes over again at the Hamilton 46. Cassell with a lot of time finally unloads it now to Carinci. He's got the first down and is dropped at the Hamilton 31-yard line. Howard Fields cut the legs out underneath him.
Really impressed with how patient Mark Cassell has been directing that offense. Stepped up in the pocket, took a look around. You know, Carinci was his last receiver he was looking at, and he found him, and they pick up a positive gain of first down.
First down, Argos at the Hamilton 31. Cassell gets to the 25 for a pickup of 6. He just certainly outran Mike Walker, who was giving chase, and then ran into Ben Zambiazzi. You were saying, Bill?
I was going to say, I was just talking to Conrad Holloway. He wondered if maybe that hit on him was a little late. He said, I think it might have been a little late, but it wasn't intentional, I don't think. But he did say, I said, have you got ligament damage? He said, they don't think so. But he said, well, if I do, I've played with it before. So you can be sure he'll be back in there for the next game Thursday against BC.
Cassell's pass is caught by Kerry Greer. Well, he's so nimble, and he is so quick as well as he gets down to the 15-yard line.
Boy, he is smooth when he comes on that quick post. He knows he's going to get drilled when he catches the football. But watch the good hands. Ball thrown exceptionally well. Good hands. Duck down, protect yourself, and he picked up a first down. That's a nice job.
5 catches for Terry Greer tonight for 53 yards. That gives him 24 on the season, and this is 4th game. Caught 7 last year. Cassell fires it out there for the touchdown to Kerry Taylor. Well, this isn't going to do much for the Hamilton Ticat Football Club. But it's been a long time since an Argo team has come in here and did a lather job like they've done on the Ticats tonight.
Well, there's some excitement. Mark Streeter gambled and lost here. He went for the interception on Kerry Taylor, couldn't get it. Taylor made a nice move to get around him into the end zone.
And now there is a huge exodus, as you might imagine, for the exits. The only thing is, you have a lot of Argonaut fans, and they're staying around to whoop it up.
Well, it's 36-3. I guess they feel they can't come back, eh, Bill?
I would have to think they might feel that way, Pat.
3:35 left to play in the ball game. It's been all Argonauts.
But as you know, Pat, anytime that you have Hamilton and Toronto playing each other, you get a lot of Hamilton fans in Toronto when they play there. You get a lot of Toronto fans in Hamilton when you play here. And so you get more of both sides as far as the fan rooting is concerned when these two teams play than probably in any other park, except maybe Calgary and Edmonton, where a lot of fans come back and forth or used to go back and forth between games.
Let's congratulate the Edmonton Eskimos on their thrilling victory last night against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That one went right down to the final play.
That Jackie Parker, though, I'm going to give him a medal. Great coach, but also he can look like the most harried coach in the world at times, can't he?
Poor Jackie. He was certainly, the heart had to be thumping last night, but it was a great victory for them, particularly coming off that thumping that they took in Ottawa against the Rough Riders. And wasn't it nice to see Joe Moss and his Ottawa team really come to the fore in a game that they had to have?
Well, as you pointed out earlier, I've never seen the league start better. And as you said, you've never seen more exciting games early in the season than we've had this year.
Let's watch an exciting fellow by the name of Johnny Shepard with this kickoff return. The Argo special teams have played very, very well tonight, and Shepard that time only managed to get back to the 20-yard line.
Leaf, what was it you said about Shepard that he bench pressed 475 pounds?
Yeah, he's bench pressed 475 once, and he could do reps at 4 1/4. So we're just going to have a look at one of the newcomers, the Argonauts. Dan Rasevich fights off a block. I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of glory playing these special teams, but the Argonauts do them well.
And he was very impressive last year in Ottawa in that same capacity. Hobart gets the pass away. And is it a catch? No, they ruled the ball hit the turf. Rocky DiPietro is really upset about this. From my vantage point, I thought the ball did hit the turf as well. Let's watch it. Nick Volpe has him on isolation. You know what? I think he may have made the catch.
I think it was good.
Yeah. Well, they don't get it, and the Argos continue to lead it 35-3 with 3:06 left to play in the ball game.
For 7 years.
Hobart, under pressure, does get the ball away, but it was Dan Rasovich who really got to him.
Well, it's tough to release that football when you've got all that pressure coming on you. Ken Hobart, he's tried his best. Just hasn't been able to get anything going like Jeff Tedford. Ticats had a tough night on offense. Tony Ruoff in the punt, third down. Jan Carinci and Carl Braisley back at the Argonaut 45.
With 2:49 left to play in the ball game. This is Carinci returning Ruoff's 10th punt of the night, and he gets to the Toronto 50-yard line, which is where the Argos will take over. Don't forget, at the conclusion of the ball game, we'll have the Carling O'Keefe offensive and defensive game stars. As we look at Jan Carinci, obviously in some pain, holding on to his left wrist. Boy, this has been a disastrous night for the Argonauts.
It really has. You know, it's been a funny night because so many injuries, and there really hasn't been that many hard hits. Like, it hasn't been one of these games where you just said, oh, look at that hitting. But a lot of little bumps and bruises the Argonauts are going to have to contend with as they get ready for BC this Thursday.
Unfortunately, Leaf, it's a lot more than little bumps and bruises. They've got some rather serious injuries they're going to have to contend with as they look at the lineup to meet those BC Lions on Thursday.
Well, let me tell you, the BC Lions will have some bumps and bruises, too, going in against the Montreal Concords tomorrow night.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one.
You make a very good point, Pat. They certainly will. That's one of the hardest-hitting defensive clubs in the league, the Concords. And with Turner Gill going the way he is, that offense of Montreal, I thought, played its best game in their last outing, and they look to be even better in this one tomorrow night, although they'll have their work cut out for them against the Lions defense.
Well, Turner Gill's getting better and better every week. The defense has really played well in their first games.
And also, it's going to be a short week for BC after tomorrow night's game. They only have a couple of practice days before they have to make that long trek to Toronto.
Let's see what happened to Jack Carinci here.
This bangs up the wrist.
Helmet. Yep.
So it's first down, Argos at their own 49. The inside handoff to Kerry Taylor was snuffed out immediately by John Pointer. So the loss will be a yard. 2:25 left to play in the ball game. The screen is set up for Taylor. And he may come up about a yard short of the first down marker as he gets into Hamilton territory at the 52-yard line. Now leading it by 35-3. With third down and a yard and a half to go. The Argos are going to gamble. Oh, it's a full yard and a half as well. Taylor dropped the football. And it doesn't matter who recovered because they're not going to have the first down. The Hamilton Ticats are going to take over.
John Priestner came up with a fumble recovery, but doesn't mean anything. They didn't pick up the first down, so Ken Hobart and the rest of the Ticat offense get another crack at it.
Should there be overtime in the CFL regular season? 83% of the phone callers tonight said yes. The 17% said no. And I think that you'll find that there will be overtime in the CFL next year.
Well, we've been informed that most of the reasons why they want overtime is the fans feel it would create some more excitement. I couldn't agree with them more. And really, it's not going to happen too many times. So why I hate to see a game end in a tie.
Hobart's throw was caught by Johnny Shepard, but he loses a yard or two on the play. Well, the Ticats, of course, can't win this game, but they'd like to get the ball into the end zone at least once. Hobart's pass is knocked away. Dennis Clay was over there, and Carl Brazeley was there as well.
Well, those two fellows have had a great night on defense, each with an interception. Carl Brazeley, a nice one, and Dennis Clay, of course, a big one in the first half. Carl saying, I should have caught that one. That would have been my second.
So it's third down, 11 yards to go, with 1:45 left to play in the game. Hobart's pass is caught. A brilliant catch by Rocky DiPietro, ridden down by Cliff Hewitt, number 15. Another young Canadian prospect on that Toronto Argonaut club, Cliff Hewitt. But what a catch by Rocky DiPietro. Hewitt is a Toronto area boy who went to Eastern Utah State College. Hobart's going to run it himself. And with a nice move, picks up the first down and then steps out at the Toronto 24-yard line with 1:25 left to play in the game. Well, coaches will tell you they always like to end on a positive note. And I think you can positively assume that Ken Hobart is going to start in Montreal next Friday. Hobart went to the end zone, but Scott Colley, the intended receiver, didn't follow through on the pattern, and he cut it short a little bit, and the ball sailed over his head.
Well, he cut it short because he just couldn't get by Carl Brazeley, who was just all over him. Now, Bruno, well, you've got to be concerned. Your offense has only scored 3 points up until this stage in the game tonight, and that's not going to cut it.
Penalty is against the Ticats. We didn't have the call from referee Ross Perrier, but I hope for Kerry Lirenko's sake that it wasn't number 69, because he already has 3 holding penalties in the ball game. On the draw, they give to Johnny Shepard. And Shepard cut it up neatly to the 21-yard line. He gets the 10 yards back and then some before Clyde Glover, number 58, and Darrell Wilson, 13, combine on the tackle. And Johnny Shepard is a little slow getting to his feet. He was making his return to the lineup tonight.
Tough break for him last year. Had a very severe hip injury, very debilitating, and just could not perform up to par. I believe he only played in about 8 games for the Tiger Cats. Outstanding rookie in the Canadian Football League in 1983. Just getting back into shape this year, and now what appears to be a knee injury. It's my old buddy Ray Jones out to take care of him. Jonesy will do the best job he can. I know, Johnny, you're in good hands with that fella.
Well, now, Leaf, surely you must have played in games that you were waxed like this. What does the coaching staff do?
Well, you do one of 2 things, and I really don't know how Bruno will react. You either come in and tomorrow morning and you just work them like dogs and chew them out and hope they respond to that, or you just take the film, throw it in the garbage, and say, it was a bad one, we stunk, let's forget about it, we've got to worry about next week. So which approach he takes, I'm not quite sure. I know which approach Frank Cush would have taken.
Yeah. Get out there, you.
Oh, we'd have been the Hamilton track team tomorrow.
Look at Hobart, and he's going to score the touchdown. Well, if there has been anything positive in the offensive performance of the Hamilton Ticats tonight, it's that young man, Ken Hobart, who came on late in the ball game, rushed for 6 times for 51 yards, and scores the only touchdown of the evening for the Ticats.
That's a nice job.
He broke some tackles to get in there as well.
He sure did. Well, he wants to run with that football and generate the offense any way he can.
Bernie Ruoff doesn't miss converts very often, and if he's good on this one, as he is, it's a 35-10 ball game in favor of the Argonauts with 50 seconds left to play. Ticats go to 0-3, and the Argos to 2-2.
The word on Jan Carinci, Pat, was that he hit a nerve on the left shoulder, so he was experiencing a little pain and deadening of the shoulder, but it was not serious.
Well, that's at least some good news. We always have a little poll before the start of the game. Leif Pettersson predicted that the Hamilton Ticats would lose to Toronto 35-10. And the score at this moment is 35-10 in favor of Toronto.
And he's putting the $5 in his pocket.
Short kickoff is knocked out of bounds by Terry Greer, so the Argos can take it at the 51-yard line. And before my mother in Ottawa gets all excited thinking that I've lost the $5, only one of those dollars was mine.
It's okay, Rose. He's not spending money foolishly again.
You know, it's funny. You can look at a football game and say how hopeless Hamilton was offensively, and then you see a kid like Hobart come in, and you say to yourself, maybe he can get a few things going, you know, if he gets some playing time. He certainly runs well. He's shown that he can throw the ball, you know, quite a distance and can put it on the money. So who knows?
Well, as you indicated earlier, I'm sure they're going to take a long look at who their starter will be next week in Montreal. And based on his performance, you would think Ken Hobart deserves that chance to be the starting quarterback. I mean, they made a trade for him in preseason, so there's no doubt that he was the kind of guy that they wanted to get in here. They let Peter Gales go, who had been around for 4 seasons, so.
Well, there's no doubt that there's going to be a change in the quarterbacking, I think, Leaf, for Montreal, but I just wonder if there aren't going to be more changes, because the fans in Hamilton will be very, very unhappy.
I think you meant there's going to be a change in quarterbacking for Hamilton.
Did I say Toronto? I meant Hamilton, of course. For the game in Montreal when they play next Friday. But the critics are going to be on the backs of the Tiger Cats. They have been all year, and it's going to be ferocious after this game.
Well, Bill, we talked about it earlier. I mean, the personnel offensively is not that bad. It's just how you use them and what kind of game plan you structure around the certain talents of the players you have. Like Johnny Shepard, Rufus Crawford, they're exciting in the open field. You've got to get them that football. Let them run with it.
Well, the toughest spot, of course, is the one that Al Bruno is sitting on, because some people are going to be calling for his scalp, as they have been ever since training camp started, as a matter of fact.
Well, one of the worst things that may have happened to Hamilton was that they lucked out in beating Toronto in the Eastern Final. Maybe they thought that they had a better football team than they did, but it required an avalanche, a tornado, and everything else that happened that day.
Well, that was a bad day that day.
Oh, yeah, but the worst thing of all, if you want to put it on that standpoint from an Argonauts point of view, was the fact they had a fellow named Dieter Brock. That was the best thing.
Toronto, number 8.
The best thing for Hamilton. And with Dieter Brock in here, I dare say it would be a different football club now.
Well, what was their record last year with Dieter Brock? I think they won 5 games?
6-8-1, I believe.
What, did they not play the 16th game?
I was just testing it.
This is Rufus Crawford from his 38-yard line. Brought down by Darrell Wilson. Actually loses a yard on the final play of the ball game. The Toronto Argonauts just thumped the Hamilton Ticats 35-10. So the Argos go to 2-2. The Ticats are 0-3. And they're in tough again next Friday night. Hamilton will play in Montreal. Al Bruno, he's got a lot of thinking to do. Bobo Bilovich is pleased that he hasn't had to go through another heart stopper because his first 3 games were all decided late in the fourth quarter. He won 1, lost 2. Tonight, there was no doubt about this one. They just jumped out in front and hammered them.
Well, we talked about it before, Pat. Bobo Bilovich has to be concerned with the injuries, but he's found out a few things about some of the players that he's got, guys like Jeff Townsend and Mark Casale, and boy, they sure came up big for him.
Bill?
I've got Bobo Bilovich with me, as you can see, of course. Obi, you were looking back, you were looking at your injuries. Despite this big win, that has to be concerning you with BC coming in Thursday.
Oh, no question about it. Wouldn't matter who's coming in. You know, we got some injuries, and I don't know how bad some of them are, and we'll have to wait till we get the report from our medical staff and from our trainer tomorrow.
I would have to think, though, Conrad Holloway going out, Casale going in. Casale did a good job for you, Obi.
Well, you know, I've been saying that all year. Everybody's saying, what's going to happen if Holloway gets hurt? And I've said, I don't know what's going to happen. We've got to wait and find out. I remember when Holloway and Clements were both rookies, and when Tommy got his chance, he did the same thing out in Saskatchewan. So, you know, you're paying these guys to play, and when they get their opportunity, it may be a big surprise. They may not do the job. You never know when you get in the game and see what happens.
And you lose Cox, and in comes Townsend, and he looks great.
Well, you know, Bill, everybody in Toronto wants to coach our football team, and they want to play different guys and this and that. I think our depth, once again, showed in tonight's game with all the injuries. Guys like Townsend and Holmes and even our reserve list, we can use that thing to our advantage because even though we had 2 changes in our offense tonight, Cox and Holmes weren't strangers to our offense, and you know, I felt good about what we did tonight. I'm disappointed that we had to give up a touchdown at the end, and I probably should have punted the ball.
Now, come on, you can't be sad that they scored 1.
Well, our defense played well, and, you know, we just got to get better at what we're doing, that's all.
Now, you say that everybody wants to coach your club in Toronto. Does that disturb you as the head coach, Obi?
No, I've been in Toronto. Ever since I've been there, I told everyone that I was going to do my job in spite of what other people might think, and I think people have to just respect us for, you know, us trying to do the right things.
Well, the way you play, how can they do anything but?
Well, when you win, everybody loves you, Bill. You know that. And when you lose, then, you know, that's how it goes.
That's right, but you have also said this is the best club you have had, and yet you've had 3 first-place finishes with the Toronto Argonauts and 1 Grey Cup and 2 Grey Cup berths. What makes you better this year?
I just think our talent's better. You know, we've got to get together yet and get that full cohesion with our offense, defense, and special teams, but talent-wise, I think it's our best team. And the thing that was good about it is they were all in our training camp from day 1. That's why I was very optimistic, but we all know you got to get the job done on the field. All that stuff on paper looks great, but you got to do the job on the field and play the way you have to win games.
To be a champion in the CFL, you have to have depth, and you showed that tonight.
And I'll tell you, this league this year, we've been watching it all season, early in the year. It's well balanced, and there's a lot of parity, and you just got to be ready to play every game.
Exciting for the fans and ulcer bait for the coaches.
Well, the fans are getting their money's worth this year, that's for sure.
Congratulations, Bobo Bilovich, the head coach of the Toronto Argonauts. And so with the final score 35-10 for the Argos, CTV's Friday Night Football will continue in a moment.
And now, the Carling O'Keefe Sports offensive and defensive game stars as selected by our broadcast crew. From the Toronto Argonauts, inside receiver Jeff Townsend is the offensive star of the game. And from the Argos, defensive halfback Dennis Clay is the defensive star. Each of tonight's outstanding players will receive a portable stereo system, compliments of Citizen Electronics. Chances are someone you know owns a Citizen. This is CTV's Friday Night Football.
5-10 the score. Toronto Argonauts over the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And if there is a hero that was made out of this ball game tonight, it would certainly have to be Jeff Townsend, who was on the sidelines, who got into the game when Cox was injured and scored 2 touchdowns and played a whale of a game. And you really took full advantage of it, Jeff.
Yeah, it was kind of a situation of being in the right place at the right time. When I came in the second quarter, they were playing a lot of zone defense. And I just found myself in the right holes, and the ball came in there and made the catches. And you know, that's all there is to it.
Well, it may be all there is to it, but it looks awful nice. Now, you got a touchdown from each quarterback. Connie before he was injured, unfortunately, and then from Mark Casale. Tell us about the first one by Connie.
Yeah, well, that was up the seam down the right side, and Paul Bennett wasn't coming over quite fast enough, so they knew if I got past the safety there and into the hole, I'd be open. And that's what happened. Paul couldn't make it over quite fast enough.
There you are, going to work, as a matter of fact, and here is the second one.
Yeah, well, Terry was coming down and picking the safety for me, and I was just going in the flat and caught the ball and just squeaked in the end zone there in the corner.
Beautiful touchdown.
Thanks.
Yeah. Now, on that, the long one that you got from Cassell, that first long pass, that surprised everybody. I mean, did that come right out of the huddle?
Yes, it did. Terry Greer was doing a comeback on that side, and he attracted two defensive backs, and no one covered me when I ran to the corner. And I was just open down the sidelines.
Jeff, I know it has to be very difficult for a young fellow who feels that he's good enough to play first string when you don't get too many chances and you're used as a backup. And they keep going to the imports in there. That's got to be disturbing for a homebrew ball player who knows he can play the first string spot.
I've learned to keep it all in perspective. We have a lot of talent on our team, and I just, you know, when I go in there, I try to do my best, and it worked out tonight.
Well, you certainly did. Jeff Townsend, congratulations, star of the game.
Okay.
Way to go.
Very much.
Two-touchdown man, Jeff Townsend. And so the score was 35-10. It was the Toronto Argonauts over the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
He ran an out pattern, and the quarterback broke containment, and he started scrambling, and Rufus just broke it upfield, and I just ran with him. Happened to come up with the ball.
I'll tell you, he's a good one to take it away from.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good athlete, real good.
Now, you went 42 yards back to set up that touchdown. It was a great run. You had a chance, I think, you thought to go all the way there for a moment.
Yeah, I thought I was going to go all the way. I think I ran out of gas there at the end. But I had some good blocking from my defensive lineman and my other defensive backs.
Dennis, the defensive backfield, the secondary, seemed to be together better than you have in any of your previous games. Did you feel that way?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's a point of us being more together. It's like a team deal. When the defensive line gets pressure, then they help us out a lot. And when we cover, we help them get sacked. So if it works together, that helps both ways.
Now, you're going to look forward to the next game against the BC Lions. That's going to be a very tough test.
Yeah, it is. We are looking forward to playing them. They have a real high-powered offense, and it'll be a big test for us.
And a great game to watch.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dennis
Thank you.
Congratulations, our defensive player of the game. A 35-10 score that was won by the Toronto Argonauts, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
35-10, Toronto wins at 398 net yards for Toronto, 264 for Hamilton. If one thing was discovered tonight, it's that Toronto has a good backup quarterback in Mark Cassell, and maybe the Ticats have found somebody in Ken Hobart.
Well, hopefully the Ticats have found somebody, but Mark Cassell, 16 of 22, 2 touchdown passes, coming in a real pressure situation, and he just did a fantastic job. We'll wait and see next week who Hamilton starts, but I think Ken Hobart earned the right to start next week in Montreal.
Well, we will probably see him next week in Montreal. Right now, we're going down to Bill Stevenson.
And we've got some fine football action coming up, Pat and Leaf. The next telecast is tomorrow night, the big game of this early season, Montreal and British Columbia at BC Place, a game in which the two undefeated clubs, 3-0, lock horns to see who's the best, at least at this point in the CFL. And then next Friday, we will be bringing you on Friday Night Football, the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Montreal against the Concords in the Big O. That'll be 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, on behalf of the entire CTV telecast crew, this is Bill Stevenson, wishing you a very pleasant good night from Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton. This CFL telecast has been brought to you by Carling O'Keefe Sports, bringing the sports world home to you. This telecast is copyright and is strictly for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, retransmission, or rebroadcast in whole or in part without the express written consent of the CTV television network is strictly prohibited.
This is the CTV